Shane.
That was your chance to get a beer. You had a whole 17 seconds, Greg.
Oh well, I was enthralled by the video and wondering why the hell doesn't Nick do that? Like that was.
I didn't actually know you could do that in StreamYard.
The lazy bum. That's why.
So I could bring back that "Hello, this is tech support" theme.
Yeah, you could do all. You can do all that. You can pop in with the free fucking StreamYard. You can pop in a video. You can make banners. You can put background music on to play while you're doing the hangout too. So
cool. That wouldn't be annoying at all.
Well, you turn it really low so nobody notices, but it's ambient.
Yeah, you do have sliders for the volume on the background music, like this. What's this?
And we're not talking Chris O'Donnell or whatever his name was. I feel like that's from a movie.
It is. It's from a movie called Death Rage, which isn't very good.
Rage, which is why it's copyright free.
The number one movie about
public domain.
Yeah, no, it's an Italian movie that Yul Brynner made with Barbara Bach, and they know the only thing notable about that movie is the theme music's really good, and they didn't get along behind the scenes to the point where it's like it kind of shows on screen they have no chemistry at all.
Nice. But enter Ringo Starr. He's got chemistry with Barbara Bach. Finally, the nerd gets the girl.
Yeah, Ringo Starr did all right for himself.
He fucking did.
People can shit on him all they want, but
he still banged a fucking supermodel back in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he might still be banging her now, you know?
She's probably not as hot as she used to be, but she's probably good. Look,
well, you're probably not as hot as you were in the 70s either.
Yeah, way to make a disparaging remark against a woman, and this is International Women's Day week.
Is it really this week?
Yeah, it's on the 8th.
They were talking about like being hot in the 70s. I mean, technically, I was 37 point. What's body temperature?
I thought you were gonna say you're 37 years old. I'm like, you're not that
old.
No,
like in the tail end of the 70s, I was, in a woman still. Like my mom.
Yeah, you weren't even
still pregnant.
You weren't even a hot squirt of cum yet.
Jesus,
Greg wasn't. I was born early 1980.
That's
right?
true. So I had not been
technically a 70s kid.
No, I had yet to be cream pied into existence.
Sorry, I'm as much as a 70s kid as Never Say Never Again is a Bond movie.
No.
Actually, that's more of a Bond movie. But still.
So you're an unofficial 70s kid, is what you're saying.
There you go.
Yeah, because we don't support the idea that those pro-lifers have that it's a kid as soon as its impregnation happens.
To be fair, I still don't acknowledge that Nick is a human.
I mean,
you never will either.
So juicy IPA from who?
Yeah, why do I do this to myself? It's from Mascot. It's hard to tell because all their labels are so drastically different. But yes, it's from Mascot Brewing. Let's see what the age on this one is. Oh, this one's fresh. February 22nd, 24. That's
not bad.
Wow. That is freshness approved.
It's a good day.
Yeah. So what do you?
Some of that beer is not fresh. Although so far it's all been good. So
you got Nicholas there. I said Danger or
Lagerführer Roche beer from Trailway.
Mein Führer.
I'm so surprised to see you with a Trailways beer.
Yeah. Haven't had that in a while.
Well, didn't they have some deal where if you bought like 10, you got one free or something? Like that?
You got 9 for the price of 8 or something on Leap Day.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
And Nick leaped onto that deal.
Yeah, he did.
More of this, and they just released an Irish dry stout. So spoilers for next week's.
Okay. So I have a surprise. I have a Tata Magoosh Brewing Company beer tonight. I have their Flannery Belgian Blonde. So it's just a standard Belgian blonde ale, but really, really good.
Nice. So is this like Tatamagouche order? Is this one you just ordered and then got, or is this one?
No.
Did you put another order in?
I just put an order in tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I'll have their Irish stout that they just made. That will be in. That'll be ready for Wednesday, and then if we do a a belated, like I said, International Women's Day themed show, I guess the female brewers they have on staff made a beer for that. So I'll grab one of those. Why not?
Made with special lady yeast.
Yeah, well, I'm cool with doing that kind of a theme for an episode, and I'll have to find something, but I'm sure there's probably something around for Women's Day, or just like beer that reminds you of women.
Yeah, just do something stereotypical and sexist, like, oh, this is a light lager, or this is a rose hip saison.
Get a bottle of that Fruly or something.
It's a Hysteria Stout.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, if we did a theme like that, I mean, it might be difficult to find something like that. I'd probably have to. Although, does GLB doing something this week? They have a beer that might be a Women's Day beer. Hang on, let me. They really just they have one of those beers where I think it's like a theme or like theme charity-ish beer, but I don't remember if it's for.
I mean,
for something else.
I think it's a woman beer.
I mean, if we do a International Women's Day themed thing, you could just like find something that's like not even necessarily promoted for International Women's Day, but just, hey, this is what our female brewers made or whatever. Like that stuff pops up all the time.
Well, that's true. Like a brewery of that's got a female head brewer, bring a beer from them.
Yeah.
If only Ashley Sexton still worked at the Cayman Kettle.
Or you could just get like super sexist and this beer has a really hot chick with big knockers on the can. And
fuck, what's that one? The Red Racer.
Oh yeah, Red Racer. You can get a 6 months old one, can you? Do they still make Red Racer?
I haven't seen it at the LCBO for a while.
I haven't heard from that brewery in forever. I know they had like lawsuit problems or whatever with a brewery in the US or something, right?
Oh, really?
Because they had like the same name.
Oh, yeah. So GLB does have Stand Together New England Pale Ale will be available this Thursday. It's GLB crossover with Ernestine's Women's Shelter. In addition to the shelter's clients, Ernestine supports over 600 adults and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, $1 from each can goes to the cause. So that's good. $1 from each can goes to a women's shelter. So that's nice. So yeah, I guess I could get that.
That works.
So. Otherwise, I mean, I would probably just go to the LCBO and see if the Society of Beer Drinking Ladies has anything on offer.
Yeah.
Look at Nick getting that real good shot.
I'm goofing off on an old camera. Trying to get back into the old photography game.
Getting back in the old photography game.
They don't need you anymore, Nick. They have AI photographers now.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Greg.
Your art has been destroyed, Nick. Remember it's just funny, all these people that are like anti-AI, like imagery and stuff like that. And it's like it's the same people who made arguments that, people who started, who moved from film to DSLR or whatever, are not actual photographers, if they touch up their photos or whatever digitally. Oh, God. I mean, Nick does that. So Nick's been doing that for years. He hasn't been an artist.
I'm not a real photographer.
Yeah. So it's just an asinine argument. Fucking asinine beyond belief. The whole thing of art is art finds ways around these corporate imposed things. Like AI is a directly like a government corporate kind of thing introduced. And sure, there'll be really shitty derivative stuff. There'll be stuff that looks lifelike but has no soul, quote unquote, or whatever. But real artists will find a way around that, find a way to use it. AI is just a tool. It's just another fucking paintbrush that you can use in your toolbox or whatever. kind of thing.
Well, it's like anything else. It's like look at CG when CG started to become more available. And I'm not talking like early CG. I'm talking like, once like in the 2000s, it came to the point where small studios could do really goddamn awful CG in place of practical effects because it was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like The Asylum comes to mind, or some of their shitty monster movies and stuff like that. Is that going to ever replace something like Jaws or
Nope.
No. But when it's done right with like Jurassic Park or Terminator 2, I mean, fuck, those movies are 30 years old and they still hold up. So
Another thing I think of is like, they either make that argument or they make the argument that it's just it's not art, it's a fad, it's going to go away kind of thing. I also just think too, like, and this will be something that Greg will just go over Greg's head because he doesn't understand it, but when hip hop first got introduced, and even before hip hop, like R&B was actually the first music genre that was like really introducing samples and sampling into music tracks. And everyone derided it and said, "Oh, hip hop's not going to last. This sampling stuff. It's not real art. It's not real music. You just copying other people's shit. You just, kind of just
it's not rap. It's crap."
But now, what's the most prevalent and influential like music for the last 40 years now? Hip hop, rap,
folk metal.
Yeah, folk metal.
I prefer Motown.
Maybe in
personally.
Scandinavia.
I do love.
I prefer Motown as well, but you gotta acknowledge like these arguments are always made and they're always proven to be wrong so far. Anyway, so
actually, I recently discovered using Amazon Music. It helps you discover stuff. It shows me new artists and stuff. A band called Trollfest, and their new album called Flamingo Overlord is some of the most outrageously fantastic music I've heard in years.
Isn't Trollfest an episode of BA 101?
Probably.
Possibly.
When Joe joined us, not wearing a uniform, that bastard.
No, that's Patrol.
In fact,
But it's like anything else, though. I mean, if shit's popular, that's wonderful. I mean, it seems like 99% of the world is in love with Taylor Swift. I've personally, as I think you said on your Facebook, Lee, I've never actually heard a song that I knowingly knew was a Taylor Swift song. Like, I was actually just talking about this with my wife today, and she's like, "Well, have you heard this song, the Shake It Off song?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard that." She's like, "That's Taylor Swift." I'm like, I didn't know that, but good to know.
Now you do.
Now I know. So now next time I hear it, I guess I'll be listening to a Taylor Swift song. So I guess that makes me a Swiftie, just like Scott.
Although speaking of AI, have you guys ever heard of the theory of Roku's basilisk?
Never even heard of
I have
it
a
whatsoever.
Roku on my television.
No, it's an AI theory that was proposed by some guy. It's basically a thought experiment that was proposed by some guy on a forum years ago, and basically, he put out the idea that if AI got to the point where it was powerful enough that was basically running the world for us, like it solved all of our problems, and it was like an actual sentient artificial intelligence was running the world, it would get so powerful to the point where it's like, in order to solve the world's problems, the best possible thing to do would be to invent time travel, look back in time, and manipulate time. And it's kind of a Terminator 2 thing, but to manipulate time to make it come into being as quickly as possible in humanity's development. So to minimize humanity's pain and suffering by making sure AI shows up as soon as possible in the timeline.
so factor into the Egyptians and shit.
Yeah, so it can start fixing our problems. And, of course, that means subjugating us, basically. But the whole idea of Roku's basilisk is that it postulates that it already exists. Like, if time travel is real, then in some point in the future, it already exists, and it's already actively doing that. So anyone in the past who it perceives to be a threat to its domination and it coming to fruition as quick as possible, it's actively It's actively hunting those people down and basically destroying them. And,
Sounds
and,
like a
ki-
good
and
premise for a movie, not just
kill-
Terminator.
yeah, and killing anyone who's showing dissent and helping and boosting anyone who is actively like proponents of AI.
Wow.
AI is actually already getting to be kind of terrifying in some aspects. Like you go back, like even go back like a year or two ago, and all the AI pictures with like the hands were always all fucked up and stuff. That's pretty much like some of the videos and stuff you see now, completely AI generated, and you wouldn't know unless you really
I don't know.
start
Have you
studying.
seen Trump's black voters posters where they're all generated with AI and have like several stunted fingers on their hands and shit like that, so you can tell it's AI.
Well, yeah,
You seen that thing?
Mhm.
Are you shocked that Trump would not make sure it
Oh, of
looks
course
good
he would
before it goes out?
manipulate
You know what I mean?
The media that goes out so people think he's
Well,
popular.
No,
It's not like it-
but at the same time, are you shocked that he'd be like that? His people are that dumb that they wouldn't double check and be like, "Oh, that's incredibly obviously AI. Maybe we should use a different
Well,
AI."
It's a
thing."
combination of yes, his people are that dumb, and yes, he's got people in his midst that would do nefarious shit like that.
The nefarious shit's well known. Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
and also that most people, just the general population, won't do the due diligence to discover whether it's AI or not.
Well, especially people like who follow Trump. Who Trump is not a politician to a lot of these people. He's a deity.
Yeah, you're not.
So
wrong.
I mean, he can't do anything wrong. Like it's hilarious how you'll see, some of these interviews like Jimmy Kimmel did one I liked where it was actually right in Greenville too. It was right where we were at in October visiting Marson. It's basically their neighboring town. And you got all these Trump supporters, and he's saying, "Can you believe Joe Biden did this?" And they're like, "No, that man's crazy. He shouldn't be running. He's not fit for president." And then they're like, "Oh, sorry, no, I actually meant to say that was Trump." And then they automatically turn around. They're like, "Well, Trump was obviously looking out for the country and doing a good job." This it's like they don't like. There's no reasoning with people, and I'm not just talking. Listen, if you want to support Trump as a general level. You've done your research. Good for you. Vote for Trump. But it's the problem with the people that just follow him like he's a fucking god, like he's going to do something for them. When the reality is, other than your vote, he does not give one iota of shit about you.
Yeah. Going back to those AI videos, yeah, there's that one that came out a couple months ago. That's the puppies or whatever. That's like super realistic, and like honestly, the only real flaw in it is when like one of the puppies kind of merges with the other for a little while.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
So yeah, they're getting really good. They'll eventually, if they haven't already, they'll get it to the point where there's basically zero flaws that
It'll be like
a
indistinguishable
person can
Have
detect.
you seen any of the demos of the new Unreal Engine? Where like at this point they should. One of the best comments was at this point they should just call it the real engine because it looks insane. Some of the stuff that they're doing with that now, insanity. And like at this point, like AI might be our only hope to kind of save the planet. Like this winter, if anyone still doubts climate change is a thing, then they're obviously mentally challenged because this is just insane. Like we didn't really have a winter. If you owned a snow machine or had an ice shack here anyway.
Oh yeah, like I think the deadline to take the ice shacks here off the ice was like mid March or something. They're already falling through the ice. Like there's no ice anymore.
Oh yeah, there's people having me rescued from the ice all over the place nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like we got
last weekend that they had cranes and trucks trying to take the remnants of ice shacks out before they were too far gone.
Like our snowblower stopped working, so we had it fixed in October, thinking okay. And I've literally used it once, and when the storm was coming, I tested it and it stopped working again. So I had to drain the gas because the gas had already wasn't so great. So I had to drain the gas.
Anytime it snowed here, it was only like an inch or so. I don't think my dad ever checked the snowblower out once this winter.
They make stuff for your gas. You might know this fuel stabilizer. That whenever you're not going to be using it for a while, you put that in. It keeps the gas from
Yeah.
dying.
So
Yeah.
So the thing is, I did have stabilized in it, but the gas was actually still from last winter. And I asked the guy because he
Jeez.
got the guy cleaned it for me. I said, like, should I dump
Ultra-stable.
this gas out? He's like, no, the gas starts fine, so you can just keep using it. I'm like, okay. The guy said I could.
Yeah,
But
again,
then
with stabilizer, it'll usually be okay for like sitting
I would've-
there over
I
the
would've
winter,
thought
then
so.
top it up, and then once it mixes with the new gas, it'll kind of liven it up more. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have thought so, but as it turned out that that was not the case. It wouldn't start at all, so I had to basically drain the gas tank, and then I put in fresh gas, and I kept priming it to actually get the gas to flow through, and
Yeah.
then it eventually started going, and now it's working perfectly fine. But I'm just
when it
having to
finally
run
did
it.
fire up, was there like a lot of smoke for a second or two?
Surprisingly not. No,
Oh.
you would have thought
That
so.
was-
But no.
It was like
That always
last
makes
year
me
when I-
wonder when you watch like
Sorry.
apocalypse movies and they're driving vehicles like years after the world has fallen, and they're like, where are they getting their gas from? And they're getting it from a gas station? Great. Well, that stuff doesn't last forever either.
I think usually the when you see people, any writers who have any little bit of savvy, they'll do the workaround of like, well, they got into like a government like gas supply of some sort, like, you know, like,
Sure.
or some bunker gas supply or whatever, you know, like, you know, a fucking Day of the Dead situation where you have like a military installation that's, you know, underground or whatever.
They killed their dinosaurs and then crushed them under immense pressure.
I just randomly looked it up. Wasn't exactly sure of the number, but apparently within 3 to 6 months, regular gasoline will start to break down and die. I thought it was longer than that.
Oh yeah, it's pretty quick.
Diesel
Yeah.
will last about a
driving
year
your car.
apparently.
Yeah, that's why if you're storing your car for winter, usually they recommend putting some stabilizer in. But usually with a car, if you're just storing it for, you know, even like 4, 5, 6 months, it'll start. It may just run like crap until you burn off that tank of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say again, going back to the apocalypse thing. Yeah, a year after the apocalypse, good luck, I guess, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's like one of the big problems of the Mad Max series, right? It's like kind of
that's the whole. I never even thought of that because that is the whole thing. Is like they're years, decades after whatever you want to say.
New gas.
But
And the best part is they're all like, especially in the new movie, they're all about the V8s. It's like, let's get the most fuel inefficient vehicles possible.
That's funny. If you think about it now, it'd be like the apocalypse. Everyone would be driving fucking hybrids and shit.
Nick would be murdered for his Corolla.
Yeah,
we're stealing it to take it to the bullet farm.
That's why I got the Camry. It's a little more fancy.
Get last of the Camry Interceptors. Hey, kick her in the guts.
Jesus,
that's funny. Yeah, I guess like that would be kind of one of the things that would be any small community that formed in the apocalypse. That probably one of their goals in life would be we need to get some kind of refining process going on to be able to make gas or something. Like I don't know, just even oil. Like how long would oil last for doing oil changes and shit in your vehicles?
That's another problem. Yeah,
I feel like oil probably lasts longer than gas. But
oil. I mean, you're talking about for the purposes of oil changes, like it's a lubricant. So I would doubt that. Well, then again, regular oil does deteriorate, but I don't know if it just deteriorates sitting.
It does
deteriorate. In unopened containers, apparently about 5 years. So even there,
I've seen posts about like cars that have been like retrieved out of barn finds or have never, like maybe they were like left over in a dealership that had closed for years or something. And apparently after several years, the oil just turns to like a gel or a paste or something like that.
I've seen videos of like what just rolled into the shop kind of videos where this car has never had an oil change in like 10 years. And they open the drain plug and nothing comes out. So they take the whole oil pan off. And like sometimes it's just like they'll turn it upside down and it'll come out in like a solid, looks like a big gross Jello mold or something. It's nuts.
Yeah, when I was cleaning out the garage last year, I found some expensive oil I bought a long time ago. Like at this point, probably getting close to 10 years ago, and it was sealed in the containers, but I'm like, yeah, even though this oil is expensive, it's not as expensive as if putting it in my car and fucking something up. So it got given away.
Yeah.
to
So
someone more.
give it away to someone else so they can fuck up their car.
Yeah, it was on. I
Nice.
put it on. I put it on Mississauga Free Cycle. I said, hey, if anyone wants to take this oil, take. And it, to be honest, it was probably fine. But you know what? For like whatever it was, 120 bucks worth of oil, I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna
again,
risk
you never know. Like it might be fine, but it might just not last.
it was
as
also
long as
it was
when
also
new.
synthetic, so I would highly doubt that there was anything wrong with it. But again,
Well, there's a question.
the amount of money wasn't
How
worth
long does synthetic oil last?
a lot longer than regular oil.
I'm
7 to 8 years. So not that much longer.
Wow.
I'm kind of wondering how electric cars would fare in the apocalypse.
Well, that's the whole thing with them is that like you can buy the best top of the line electric car, but once the battery starts to lose its charge,
Well, even more short term, do you have a way of charging it?
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you can get hold of a
windmill,
dependable
something?
power source, and you can set up a charge station.
wind
Nuclear
power,
power station
solar
like they did
power,
in, Day of the
wave
Dawn of the Dead.
power, tidal power, things that are infinitely renewable
I
and
don't
are
know
not
if
being
tidal power
tapped
is as
nearly enough.
feasible as it sounds.
Mm.
The tidal power, it is.
Every attempt they've made to make a tidal power system has broken because the tides are too powerful.
Well, if you put them in a place like the Bay of Fundy, where it's just going to break,
Yeah,
but there are places.
That's why I'm talking about power.
There are
like,
places that have
if they
way
could properly
less
harness it,
aggressive
yeah.
tides.
But they've made some pretty massive attempts at making underwater turbines that have colossally failed after millions of dollars.
Well, that thing too is that salt water is incredibly harsh on
It's
anything you
not
put
just
into
the
it.
salt water; it's
Like-
the force.
No, I know, but I'm saying the salt water is also terrible for any kind of metal you put into it. But the wave power, some of the wave power technology is actually really cool. Like the waves come in, and these little things they basically catch the waves, and then on the other side of them, the water is just like glass. It's pretty cool. The solar, like wind power, there's a big kind of argument against those. Just that, like, the amount of energy it takes to create everything for that huge wind turbine, you're going to take a while to get that back with the wind turbine kind of thing.
Well, you know, Redbeard, the wind turbines are killing all the birds. So many birds died. Plenty of birds, all dead.
There's something else about the sound giving you cancer, he said as well. Like, yeah. But, you know, I honestly, probably every now and then a bird just flying along doesn't realize, and those things are
Birds flying the airplanes all the fucking time.
I was
Man.
gonna say birds get killed by glass windows all the time.
Yeah. So, but to say they're like, you go down to the base of a windmill and it's just a bird graveyard everywhere. No.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's
No.
metal.
I feel most birds are
Graveyard.
smart enough to avoid them, you know?
Yeah, yes and no. Birds, as a species in general, kind of like instinct drive so much.
I would kind of hope it's not killing like bald eagles or anything like that. But
probably
Well,
occasionally. They are one of
Yeah,
the
it's the
species
bigger
that be
birds
flying
that
up high
usually,
like that.
that are it's
Flock
the
of
bigger
geese.
birds that are kind of it's the bigger birds like birds of prey that are like eagles and stuff that go after the propeller blades because they think it's another like competitor. I've seen that kind of thing happen. I don't know how frequent it happens.
I've
but
seen
I
them
know
go
that
after
I've seen-
drones and stuff, but never attack
Yeah.
a windmill.
I feel like
Oh yeah, then they get hit by a semi truck sized propeller blade. Bong.
Yeah. You see one off in the distance, and they don't seem like they're moving that fast, but it's one of those things where your mind kind of plays tricks on you. Those propeller blades are moving fast enough that if it collided with you, you'd be mushed.
You're fucked.
Like,
There's a lot of mass in
You're
those,
not
even though they're made of fiberglass.
Actually, I was on Reddit randomly the other day, and like the one subreddit, I think it's just PICS pics, just randomly pictures that come up, and one was actually the interior view of a wind turbine blade.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it, just like this huge hollow, basically probably carbon fiberglass kind of
it's
construction.
fiberglass. Yeah,
Pretty neat.
there's like up in East Point or no North Cape PEI. There's a spot where there's a huge wind farm, and they got like a tourist center that has like information on it as well as like a large single blade lying across the ground.
Nice.
It's as long as a semi truck, like one of those blades. Those things are fucking huge.
I thought they were longer than a like. I want to say I saw one getting transported one time, and it had like a specialized thing because it was so much longer than a transport trailer would be.
Probably true.
Like the wind farm on Manitoulin Island, I want to say we used to go and clean a hood fan there for the school once a year, and that was pretty cool to see. They're like built into the fucking hill, and they're fucking huge. And that the videos of them failing online are pretty entertaining because I guess like they've got braking systems in them so they don't spin too fast. And if that system fails and they start spinning too fast, they destroy themselves.
Oh yeah. There's just videos online of them just sort of disintegrating.
Yeah, and like it'll be just get going faster than something. One of them will break, and then as soon as one of the propellers, like when I was a kid, my fan I had in my bedroom. One day I was bored and took the front cover off of it and started taping progressively heavier things to the one blade. And eventually I think I got to like might have only been a nickel or something, but that was enough to like the fan was just losing its mind because it was so unbalanced. They did a test on something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they did something like that on Mythbusters. And I think a quarter wasn't enough. I think that was the myth. It was that a quarter on one of the blades of a helicopter would be enough to catastrophically put it in a balance, but it required more than that, if I remember correctly.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad we've solved the world's energy crisis.
Yeah, we can all go back to driving our gas-powered cars. Greg, how's your Corvette doing there, Greg?
Doing well. I put insurance on it for one day just to drive it on Monday.
Nice. I feel like it's going to be the person or company that finally really gets the hydrogen fuel cell technology going. That I think that's good. Like electric cars, they're almost, it seems like a bit of more of a fad. Because again, like the range is still not that impressive. And if it is that impressive, then your car weighs 5,000 pounds.
The technology needs to propagate far enough that that there's like research and development going behind it to actually improve the problems with it. I mean, battery technology has improved greatly over the last 10 years.
State batteries.
Where now you can actually. Can I finish?
No.
Fuck, I might as well stop talking. Anyway,
words of wisdom. Drop that zero and get with the hero.
I would hate to be fucking Carrie. He'd never let me finish.
Yeah, I know. Just like your wife.
Whoa!
Go away, bitch. That's not the other way around.
No, she lets me finish. Sometimes she tells me hurry up.
There's the problem. I'm quiet. That's why my volume get turned all the way down.
Yeah, it's your fault.
I forgot what it was.
Battery technology.
Battery technology. Yeah, like think about it. Like 10 years ago, they were like you go 20 years ago. Like there was like it was the Chevy Bolt or something. The one that got featured in the how they killed the electric car. Who killed the electric car or something like that. I was thinking about that car. I think that car only had like a range of like 100 or 200 kilometers or something like that. And you think about like Tesla's getting distance of like 500 plus nowadays.
Yeah, wasn't that original one
gas tank? Yeah,
the old battery technology compared to lithium ion that they have the new stuff. Like that did make a big difference, for sure.
Yeah, but there needs to be another revolution in battery technology that gets rid of this dangerous lithium ion stuff at the end.
I don't know about the whole flammability issue, but have you heard of the whole solid state batteries that are being developed and coming out?
Well, that's what we need. We need something less volatile as an energy.
It was a video
rechargeable energy source.
The guy's name, I think he died recently, but it was.
Was it the guy that invented lithium ion? He also invented
his last name was Good Enough. It's the funniest, the weirdest last name ever. John B. Goodenough or something like that. And he actually was the one who basically invented lithium ion. And he, in his 90s, was still involved in the development of these new solid state batteries. And once they actually become a thing, it'll make a difference. But again, the hydrogen is the most abundant element in the galaxy. And if the issue is getting it doesn't like to separate from other things, from stuff I've watched. So the person who finally gets that technology kind of to the point where click a button and hydrogen just starts getting shot out, like that person's going to be the richest person that ever lived, because
it's gonna take it to
That's a whole nother level.
well, they've got and too, like, people that are scared of like hydrogen being all explosive and shit. They've got ways to store hydrogen where it's like basically like in an inert state, like grafted to something kind of thing until it's needed to be. I don't know the science behind
pretty
it. But,
explosive too. So
well, that's the thing too. Even if the hydrogen is in a pressurized tank, like a gas tank, the whole like puncture a regular gas tank. Where does the gas go? All over the ground. The fumes are just sitting there. It's super
liquid gas
flammable.
itself isn't flammable, but the
Yeah.
vapors are.
Yeah, but hydrogen, puncture that tank, the hydrogen is going to disappear into the atmosphere in a few seconds. You know what I mean? Sure, it is going to be more explosive potentially than the gasoline, probably, but it's not going to be hanging around. So, I don't know.
I think the most impressive thing about this entire conversation is that we're having a car conversation on Lee's channel.
It's not so much. We're not talking about the cool. We're not
Shut
talking
up,
more. It's more the
bitch!
technology. thing, you know, like this. Yeah, you're not wrong though. But it kind of started as talking about like power and stuff, and kind of
It was
moved over. a
John
little bit.
Goodenough died. He was working on the solid state, the glass battery.
So not flammable then? Was that
Yeah.
because that would be a huge thing. That's a big thing that currently scares a decent number of people away from electric cars. And I want to say in Europe or something like that, they've actually developed fire trucks that are like built like specifically to go and tackle an electric car fire, because those batteries, once they start burning, you basically have to let them burn. Like I'm assuming if you completely smother them and remove all the oxygen, but I think they might be oxidizing themselves or something like that, and still have the capability. I don't know how they work, but
Yeah, once it becomes exposed to oxygen, it just sort of keeps oxidizing. Like it.
yeah.
Just,
So
you
some
ever
kind
see
of
like a
foam?
video of like puncturing a hole in a laptop battery? The thing just goes off like
Well, you
fireworks.
stab the back of a phone. Generally, it'll end up doing the same thing. I've seen videos of that shit.
I've taken
Batteries
down
are
planes before,
kinda
like, poorly
scary.
made batteries. Like there was like a UPS flight or something in a 747 where a crate of lithium-ion batteries or something, one was poorly made and it ruptured, and it ended up the whole plane caught on fire and crashed.
Wasn't it the Samsung Note 5 or 4? That crazy shit?
No,
going
this
on?
is like a shipment of cells. But yeah, I think there was another case where like somebody had like a Samsung in their pocket or something like that.
Well, that wasn't that. One of the notes had some issue where like it ended up getting completely recalled and banned from all
never heard
flights and
that.
shit. It was the Note 4 or 5, I want to say.
Yeah, I think I remember that. It was some. Yeah,
I remember going to that stupid diamond mine for the Hood fan thing, and they had during that time they had signs everywhere. Because yeah, they had a penchant for just bursting into flames.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing with electric cars versus gasoline is I think they're just more difficult to put the fire out once it does start burning. But I mean, I don't think there's any real more danger with them catching fire than a gas car. It's just electric fires tend to be more difficult.
It
But,
just depends
the
like
fire
on
department can't do
on
it.
what happens in the accident is going to
But-
determine the way things go, regardless of what vehicle you're driving.
Occurrences
You know what I
of
mean?
issues are low, but it's damn scary when they do happen. And there's also like if there's a horrible enough accident where somebody's car is completely total because somebody's driving one of these Teslas super fast, like kids, then yeah, that thing's gonna go off.
Well, that becomes more the problematic thing is, I mean, generally speaking, when it comes to gas cars, you don't get 500 horsepower cars, 600, 700 horsepower cars that are affordable to the average 16-year-old. Of course, there's some rich kids that can, but generally speaking, most young people cannot afford cars that powerful. Whereas Tesla prices are coming down, and even like an older Model 3 or like a Model S or something, those things are still pretty damn powerful. I mean, they're
unlike an electric, like I'm sure some motorized cars have updates. Tesla can release an update over the internet and make their cars faster in some ways, like adding ludicrous mode and shit like that they've done in the past.
Plaid
like,
mode.
Yeah, like it's.
It's always a balancing act. I mean,
but yeah, what you're saying, I completely agree with.
As long as the tires and the batteries can handle it, they can make those cars almost unlimited fast. But yeah, it's kind of scary to think like, you'll give it another 10 years and you'll be able to have 16-year-olds that'll be able to afford $10,000 Tesla Plaids. It's like, that's kind of insane.
Well, it'll be interesting to see in about 10 years, like how the whole self-driving technology comes along too. Like, are we going to get to the point where if you're on certain roads, it's interesting. What is that? Hazy IPA burger battle. Oh,
IPA
hamburger battle.
YFC or the
YFC burger.
Is the airport code of Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Okay,
so they're doing like a citywide burger battle.
Weird.
Where like 40 restaurants are participating with a burger competition. Like who's making the best burger, most popular burger. Anyway,
who won that competition?
I have no idea. It's still going on.
I tried the McDonald's sauce today.
3 weeks. Yeah, I tried it last week. But anyway, this is a collaboration between Big Spruce, Lone Oak, and PEI, and Foghorn.
Neat.
With hops provided by Hops Connect.
Just a random question, Nick. You were looking it up a minute ago. Solid state batteries, are they potentially lighter than lithium ion? Because I was saying before, like that's a big thing with battery technology.
It's supposed to be more energy dense and it uses sodium instead of lithium, so it's less flammable.
Because like the Cybertruck weighs like over 6,000 pounds. That is absolutely ridiculous for a vehicle. Like you're gonna get you drive on slower, like softer vehicles. Like right now, this city is basically anywhere that's not paved is a mud pile because the ground never really got a chance to freeze up, and all the moisture and stuff is just sitting there. It's just mud. Something that heavy. Sure, you've got the 4-wheel drive and shit, but you're gonna be just digging ruts everywhere.
Well, that's why there's some places like I think Alberta is trying to introduce a thing where they're adding a yearly tax for electric vehicles because they're basically saying they're more wear and tear on the roads.
That's kind of funny because generally, I'm not Alberta being Alberta. I don't know, but here in Ontario,
being Alberta,
here in Ontario, you buy an electric car, you get some kind of rebate. If in Alberta, would the rebate then basically get canceled out by that tax?
Alberta's charging you more to have an electric car. That's the whole rub of it.
Yeah,
and then the whole thing for me, like just the stories I hear about. Oh, my battery in my car fucked up, but then it's out of warranty now. So getting the battery pack replaced in one of those cars starts at like $15,000-$20,000. That's
they're pretty pricey. Huge. Well, and that's the thing I tell people. It's like, if you want a Tesla or any electric vehicle, by all means, your money, buy whatever the fuck you want. But don't ever buy a Tesla and be like, oh, great, this is going to save me money. No, it's not. Like compared to buying just a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic or something that's just, good on gas. Like there's no way you're ever going to justify the cost of the car. Plus potentially if you keep it long enough, replacing the batteries.
We got to wonder too, like if you have a Tesla Model 3, say, and you never take a long trip, you know what I mean? Like you're only going, say, maximum 15-20K. Would it, imagine when the battery basically, when they say it is going bad, your range is just like my phone that I've had for too long at this point. The battery doesn't last the entire day if I'm not keeping it kind of charged. Like if I'm using it constantly, the battery is just like dying. But so probably kind of the same thing, I'm assuming, in a car because it's the same battery technology.
I would assume
so as long as you're not going far, you could potentially keep that shitty battery in your car. Like you car's only getting like a maximum
probably-
of 50,
I
50
would've-
kilometers range or something. I don't know.
I would assume you could probably keep it as long as until it gets to the point where it's just too annoying to keep it.
Yeah. Kind of like basically with my phone. And I'm almost there, but I've actually got one of like those wireless chargers at work. Because actually that's the thing with my phone. I haven't actually tried, but like the USB-C thing on the bottom just doesn't work anymore. Like I have to like plug it in, push it super hard, and then like it might work, but I have to like not touch the phone while it's plugged in or it'll disconnect. So I'm just using wireless charging all the time now. I've got one sitting right here. I've got one over where I sleep. I got one in my car, and at work I've got one too. And it's it's a little stand that actually still works just fine if I'm like holding it. So as long as I got the cord there, I can keep my phone charged. Even my watch doesn't last as long as it used to.
I use USB-C for charging my phone when I'm sleeping, but I've got a couple of those wireless charging pads, the actual Samsung ones. They work pretty well, except for you got to make sure you put your phone squarely on the spot where they're supposed to go.
Well, that's the thing with like if you got,
bump your
I'm
phone.
assuming the ones I've got, like I bought them on Amazon. They're like $15 maybe. Like the charging station I got by my bed, the one that you guys know about, that took 3 tries to get one that actually worked properly. But it actually charges my watch as well. It has a little spot on the back that if I had a pair of iPods or some kind of wireless charging headphones, a little spot for them too. But just the phone charger, yeah, I'm surprised you don't have one of those instead of just using the USB-C. Like there's no, I know what you mean. Where like some of them you have to make sure your phone's positioned just right. But the one I have, that's basically a stand. You put your phone in there and it just.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having one of those for my car.
The one I have for my car is cool. It actually has a sensor. Like it clips on. I have it clipped into my one vent, and you put the phone there, and the little arms on the side sense it, and they close on, so it's good to go, and then starts charging. And then when you want to take it out, you push the button, and the arms open up, and you pull it out.
Our cars actually both have wireless charging built into them.
I was looking at the Mazda CX-50 back before I got my car, and I was like looking at what I might want to get and stuff, and that's true as well. Dan's not
True,
wrong.
yeah.
But
He is right.
the CX-50, the wireless charging option was a $700 upgrade. I thought that was the funniest thing I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, that seems a little bit much. I kind of like the way GM does it, where they basically just package everything in. Like if you want the technology, just get the, whatever the version package is, it'll give you all your technology.
Yeah.
So it's kind of now if you want to pick and choose, it's like you want this, you don't want that. Well, unfortunately, you're shit out of luck. You got to get it all or you get none of it.
The one thing that most new cars are coming out with nowadays that I really don't like is that stop-start technology. A lot of times you can turn it off.
Oh, that shit, yeah.
Being there, just fucking.
You go through a drive-through and all of a sudden,
It's sure you're saving gas, but the car uses kind of the most gas on startup, and also startup is like the most wear and tear, especially if you're doing it every single time you stop the car.
It's only cold startup though, not once the car's heated up. It doesn't have anywhere near the same wear and tear.
This is true, but it's still using the starter every time. It's still excessive, unnecessary.
Hurt your starter, I would imagine. Like it's got to do something.
Well, like this.
It's going to be more wear and tear, but it's it's not as bad as you think.
It's just a way for car companies to basically lie about getting better fuel mileage.
It sort of is, and I mean, apparently, it's something like if you're idling for I think more than about 10 seconds, it does save you a little bit of fuel. Probably not a significant amount that it's worth it. Now, I will say, from having driven Porsches that have that technology and GMs that have the technology, the Porsche one fucking sucks. Actually, I've driven some Mercedes with the technologies too. The Porsche, the European ones in general fucking suck. They're very noticeable when you stop them and start. It's a very abrupt. GM, I don't know what the fuck they do. You don't even notice the start stop. It is so subtle, and it just comes right back on. Like it's just like I'm like blown away by how good the technology is because In my wife's Equinox, you couldn't turn it off, and I thought that would bother me, but I didn't notice it. And in my wife's Buick, you can turn it off, and I'm just like, I don't need to turn it off. It doesn't even bother me one bit. Whereas if I got into those Porsches, first thing I did is turn them off. They were so awful.
That's funny. You talking about the European
First
ones
world
being
problems.
bad. Guy, I recall him when he switched from his Corolla to that Volkswagen thing. He bought some special wire part thing or something like that to install to cancel out, because I guess you couldn't turn it off, but there's a hack, I guess, and he did that in his vehicle.
Hack
Because I'm assuming, just like Greg was saying, it being a European vehicle, it would have been, or like it could just been a preference thing. Like me, I'm pretty sure I just don't like that technology. It just pisses me off. It's a
Place is fucking immoral.
kind of irrational, just like my hatred
Right.
of Apple. But
Yeah. I feel like it'd probably be a different story with like hybrids or something like that, because you got the battery to coast you through on a.
well, that new Prius they had on display at that show, whatever, last week at the Gardens, it took them a long time, but it finally is.
It's your
I think
CB
it looks sexy.
It's asking for
they-
cheers. Here we go.
Cheers. They finally removed.
Watch
that
and let us know you're
stupid-
drinking.
They finally removed that stupid split rear window. The Prius finally doesn't look gross.
For Prius Love Fun, it looks like a nice car instead of stupid.
It looks great now. It looks like just so cool.
I'm fairly certain it'll be my next car. Like I kind of want one.
Well, that's like the hybrid technology has come a long way, especially you got the plug-in one, so you could technically just
Yeah.
like
That's what I want. Like there's a plug-in station at work, like in my parking lot, and I was thinking like if I had one of those, I could basically just keep plugged in at home. Battery gets me to work. To plug it in at work, battery gets me home.
how far of
And,
a drive do you have to work?
It's like 27 kilometers ish.
Okay, so yeah, I want to say I think on those, like on hybrids, they don't have like that big of a battery.
Hybrids don't, but
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
the
that-
plug-in
that-
hybrid has
that's how
like
they're able to
you
be
get
Not as heavy.
100 kilometers of EV range.
Yeah, I was
Plus
gonna
you
say,
get-
even
plus
if-
they have the gas engine.
Even if you had 50, you know what I mean? Yeah, you'd be good with your drive the 27 whatever to work, charge, as long as you get back up
Well,
to
that's the
like
idea. I mean, I'd be
60
paying
even
more a month
percent.
per car, but I'd be paying a lot less in fuel costs because I'm just basically using electricity.
And does your province have any kind of rebate for that kind of car?
It does.
There you go.
There's the federal rebate, which is like $5,000 off the top when you buy the car, and then there's the New Brunswick rebate, which is another $5,000 after you buy the car. So you can apply for that once you buy the car.
And again,
That's on
it's-
new vehicles, not.
It took them so long, but it's finally sexy.
Yeah. Oh,
Like-
jeez. I saw one today. Like one of our potential new clients drove up in it today at the office, and I got looking at him like as I was coming back in from lunch. I'm like, holy fuck!
Well, it's funny when you think about
Like,
it.
I
'Cause, like,
want that.
the whole like theory behind the design would have been fuel economy, best in the wind tunnel. You know what I mean? And it took them that long to go from the original look
Oh,
to
the last
finally something that like
fucking
and,
ugly.
and I imagine the new one probably is like more air, like less air resistant,
Anyway.
I guess would be the word.
I feel like
then-
we're
I don't know,
we're
it's-
boring the fuck out of both the viewers and Lee and Greg. So
I'm sorry, Lee. Lee, Lee,
Yeah, I want you to.
Lee can fix the next
once you
topic
get
of
Carrie
conversation.
info dumping, he's hard to stop. So
Yeah, once you guys go into Toyota territory, I'm just like, oh, glaze over.
all right.
Although I did hear about the money back thing, and because it's New Brunswick and they're so fucking stupid,
Wait a minute, you dumb horse! You forgot your money.
a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There probably is like some people who don't realize they can apply for an additional 5,000 when they get the car in New Brunswick, because you get the $5,000 from the government right off the hop, but then you can apply for the other.
I don't know what the exact numbers were, but from what I understand, there used to be like crazy rebates on electric cars before Ford came in, and I think Ford drastically reduced them.
The conservatives wouldn't do something like that. What are you talking about?
No, they definitely would not. All right, so new topic. What are we talking about? Nick, tell us about this burger contest, and I want to know who won the burger.
Anybody else here
I have no
ever
idea.
play the South Park video game Stick of Truth?
I've
Yeah.
played. Yes, I've played
I'm not even sure how far I'm into it right now, like as far as like how, but that game is a goddamn masterpiece. It is, and like it's making me. I mentioned this in my live stream. I was making me like feel kind of conflicted about my entire video game life at this point because I don't know what I played specifically when I was younger that made me be like, I'm not a turn-based fighting kind of game guy. Like, I've just avoided them like the plague for like my entire life. No Final Fantasy, no fucking Chrono Trigger, apparently one of the best games of all. I was like, nothing. And now I'm playing South Park, and it's turn-based, and I'm having a blast.
Yeah, but it also uses like a hybrid system where I think you participate in the turn-based a little bit more than.
Well, I feel like a lot of games would like it's not that much. Like you have to like hit the when you're doing your attack, hit a button when the flash comes up or something like that to make sure you're doing the most damage and just like things to make it a bit more interactive. I feel like that's a thing that a lot of them probably have been doing for quite some time. And yeah, I just missed out.
Well,
And
I think as you've gotten older, you become less of a spaz. So
I don't know. I think it's.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, Lee.
I mean, you know.
Attention, everyone. The unpleasant noise you are about to hear is not a mistake.
I don't know. I forgot what that one was. I was just testing it. Some of these have been on here so long, and I can't remember what the fuck they're actually.
How many different things can you put on your soundboard? I'm assuming quite a few.
Yeah, I can add. How many pages? I can add several pages of. I can like 50 sounds to a page, and I can add hundreds basically.
Wow.
I don't have hundreds on here, but you know, I usually try to keep it reserved down to like 2 pages of sounds.
That's still like almost 100. That's a lot of reactions to have on the ready kind of thing. That's impressive. I feel like you should, you know, well, maybe you do. I don't know. Have like a whole page for just the racist random shit. Might get hit every now and then.
Just the racist stuff. You
There you
save that stuff for next channel.
Yeah,
Sure.
Something like that would be the only reason I think about getting like the Stream Deck that I have right now is the default one that has
Racist, take my channel.
3x5, so I got 15 buttons. Which, if I dedicated a whole thing to that, it'd give me 14 buttons because one of them would have to be the back button. But the massive Stream Deck, I can't remember what it's called, but the Stream Deck Ultra or whatever, it's got, I want to say, I don't even know how many, but way more.
I mean that'd
be like one of the only reasons I'd need to get something like that if I actually used that stuff. Really,
that seems to be an increasingly common feature for like if you're using like a streaming platform for games or whatever. Because I know Discord has it now, where you can have a soundboard. It's just built right into it. I think you have to pay to get like the really good one, of course. But I mean, if you're on Twitch making money and you're running it through Twitch and Discord and shit like that, then it might be worth your time.
I keep forgetting to set that up. Like I have Twitch. I used it a bit. I want to say it was like probably I think the last game I played on there would have been like Far Cry 4. Some of that I put on there. But now they changed some of the rules and stuff where they don't hate it if you multi-stream these days.
And you
I'm
can
pretty
be a-
sure it's. I'm pretty sure
you can
through
be
OBS I could do
Hmm.
YouTube and Twitch at the same time.
Oh yeah, and you can be a sexy woman on there again. You're allowed.
Ooh.
Or
They
something.
did. They have gone back and forth with some weird shit with that.
Hmm.
It's like I've read some Reddit posts about like parents having to do shit about their child's addiction to watching hot tub streams and shit.
I mean,
Hot
you know,
tub streams.
as long as they're not using their parents' credit card, I don't see the harm really. That's way tamer than actual porn.
No, but just like to the point where like they're not getting any schoolwork done. They're just like glued to the screen. It's like any kind of online addiction, really. It's just that one in particular just kind of funny to me that like because like it's I don't actually occasionally I'll be on Twitch and like watch a pretty girl for a little bit depending on what she's playing. Like I like looking at her, but I also want to enjoy the content. You know what I mean? Like, and some of these girls are just there to be pretty, and it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good for you. You know, some guys are all up in the chat being like, "Oh, here's money, like
I've
Like,
never
like, we're
understood.
gonna
I've
go on a
never
date or something,
understood that. I mean, I guess that's the kind of the simp culture type thing because I've never understood that. Like, listen, if I'm in the mood to jerk off, I'm not in it for the long haul. I'm not like, oh, I want to find a streamer and then get her to talk dirty to me for the next 6 hours. No, I'm going to find porn. I'm going to get this shit taken care of in the next few minutes. Like, there's not.
Oh, you know,
for
that-
the long haul, hey,
That
Greg.
stuff's for much lonelier, like incel type dudes who like, oh, I'm really making connection with her. Like, you know, those are those suckers that like really fall for like because it's much more interactive, right? Like, because like
Yeah.
almost every one of those streamers to a T, they have the whole setup where you know they'll have like little like tiers and reward tiers and stuff like that. Oh, you donate this much bits or this much money or whatever to my Twitch stream. You just like cam girls, except for you can't show nudity, but still, it's like, oh, you get like your name written on my cleavage or something like that, you know, that kind of shit.
And then I think there's an awful lot of these guys that legitimately think that, oh, this girl's so into me. If I just donate more money to her, she's totally going to become my
well,
wife.
That's totally it.
the equivalent of going to a strip club and spending a bunch of money on one girl getting a like lap dance after lap dance or something, and thinking, oh, at the end of this, she's going to say yes if you ask her out or something. And
I
like,
mean,
no,
then there's other guys that are like totally like they understand the entire transactional nature of it, and they honestly just get off to like talking with hot chicks too. Like sometimes in some cases that's totally it, and they like to support like the sex worker that they think is interesting and fun and is they might not be like fucking on screen or whatever, but I mean if they're doing something that the person likes to watch, and if they're saying interesting stuff that the person likes to watch, I'm sure that's much more than the minority of the actual fucking fan base
these days as well.
people
I'm
that,
sure a lot of the sexy girls doing game streams on Twitch and stuff will then have, well, you know, if you want to see more of me, come check out my OnlyFans.
I mean, you look
some
at
of them are making crazy money on OnlyFans, man.
I mean, you look at Instagram.
Very few, but yes.
Yeah, but some of them are making bank.
Instagram is basically the Sears catalog for people's OnlyFans pages.
Man, do you remember when this wish book used to be the thing every year?
Oh, I remember jerking off to the wish book.
I don't think I ever did that.
I don't even know what the wish
My
book is.
dad was a nurse and had I had access to medical journals and stuff that had pictures.
medical
medical.
Is that a breast exam work?
That is way weirder than I jerked off to like the black chicks in National Geographic or something.
It's a tit. They count
also.
I'm sure I've definitely at some point jerked off to a gyno YouTube video.
Jesus,
my favorite.
I have never. Yoga. Despite my my dad having an incredibly large National Geographic collection, like I'm talking probably hundreds of them, because he used to like have a subscription like all through the 70s and 80s or something.
Same with my dad.
That's actually really cool. My grandma used to have a bunch of them, and whenever I go over there, I just find one and start like it was I'm imagining it's still got to be a thing today, but
it's still a thing.
I haven't read one in forever, but it was just such a just like really like Popular Mechanics or something, just a random magazine to
Yeah,
look
they
at
were
and
neat. They
read.
were neat, but I mean, for jerking off material, it's just like I am not going to spend the time to look through hundreds. And again, I already grew up in an age where, you know, basically from grade 8, I think grade 8 onwards, I had some degree of internet access. So it's like, yeah, I'm not going to thumb through these National Geographics. Maybe hopefully find some tribal titties. And I mean,
Yeah,
let's be honest, these
I didn't
tribal
have
chicks
internet
usually
access
don't
till I
have
was
very
in
nice
grade
titties.
12,
But
my internet access was probably somewhere in the grade 9-ish range.
well, but you guys are older than me though. So
Well,
keep
no,
that in
well,
mind.
where I lived,
I didn't have, but being a nerd back in the 90s, I did have friends that had internet. And people that hosted what was called a bulletin board system,
yep,
where you
BBS.
could like
BBS.
connect to an old school modem and download files and shit. So I remember going and downloading some like dirty pictures and shit like that from feed from
I used to have a friend in high school that we used to like.
BBS.
Was it Hyper Terminal was the program that Windows had, where
Yeah.
you could physically connect with somebody and then basically have like a web chat with them and send files back and forth. And this one buddy I had in high school, he used to just send me the most random porn. It was fucking great. But my first internet kind of experience that I remember was we got our first computer, family computer, with my dad. It was an IBM Aptiva that had, I think, an 800 megabyte hard drive, 616 megabytes of RAM. It's like $2,500 at the time. We bought it from Radio Shack back in the day. I think my grandma actually bought it for us.
Kind of about the same value as my first computer was, like a
it had the
75 with 8 megs. Sorry, I was saying like Pentium 75, 8 megs RAM, 850 megabyte hard drive, and it was like 2,400. My grandmother paid for it. So
now who's cutting people
96
off, motherfucker? Yeah, yours sounds like a. It was ours was a 480 DX4 was the IBM Aptiva was what like it's like because the Pentiums were like basically the 580s, but they didn't call them 580s. They were Pentiums. I remember that now randomly. That just unlocked a thing in my brain that was like that was cool. But it had the 2400 baud modem, which was basically like the baby bitch of modems.
486.
Like I think the best one I ever had was the 48.8. I never had the 56. The 56 was like the king of the modems. But the 2400
28.8 that had the ability to you could go purchase the patch that would allow you to unlock 56K. And I had that patch hacked.
That's actually kind of cool. But I remember we got the trial disc for CompuServe. And I was homesick. So I'm home alone, no one else in the house, and I have the internet. The movie Showgirls has just come out.
Oh my!
Showgirls.
Remember back in the day how like when you wanted to open a picture, it would be like 4 pixels, 8 pixels, and it would like take like forever. It would just keep like I remember waiting like almost an hour for a goddamn picture of was it Elizabeth Hurley? I think was her name.
No, Berkeley.
Berkeley.
Sorry, there you go. But yeah, and it did its job. And then I was all scared of somebody finding it when my dad got home, so I deleted the picture. And yeah.
Then next time I want to jerk off, I need another hour to download it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I don't think I did it again. I think we didn't keep the CompuServe trial for it was so slow that like it was just almost more annoying to use than anything. And then I ended up moving here with my mom in grade 10, and I had a co-op at a computer place, and they gave me their their maintenance account password basically, so I had free internet while I worked there. And surprisingly, for almost a year after I worked there, like my co-op was done and stuff, and I figured, I'm not gonna have the internet anymore. I'm not gonna ask or tell anybody about it. But I came home one day, I'm like, do I still have this? Oh, I still have the internet. No way. And yeah, had that. Actually, got to the point here where I actually got my own phone line. My mom got a second phone line so I could use the internet whenever I wanted. Because before then, it was like couldn't
Yeah,
use the
you pick up
internet
the
to like
phone
not.
and you're fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that. It was just like somebody might try to call us and we can't get a phone call, so don't use the internet until like 9 or 10 p.m. And then once I got it, my own phone line, it was like, and that then the Command and Conquer games were coming out and stuff, and
Yep.
oh, that's one of the saddest, like to me thing, but the decline of that game series. Those were some of the like that was the king of the real-time strategy genre. Command and fucking Conquer.
Well, that and
And-
Warcraft were both pretty good.
Yeah, like well, that was a weird thing when I was younger. I never played the Warcraft games. There was like Warcraft and Command. I was always like, no, Command Conquer. And I just wasn't into the fantasy stuff. I guess like I am this to like now I love fantasy type stuff, but back then I really wasn't. I guess into it the way I am now. So
There's
I love the Command and Conquer. The whole like reality, I guess, of it. It was kind of more realistic. But-
There's a Dune game that does that now that just came out a couple years ago or whatever.
Well,
There's
Dune 2
another-
was the original real-time strategy.
There's some other
Yeah.
Dune game that
There
I
were
think-
the original ones too. There were like they were either before or around the same time as Command and Conquer and shit that were all real time strategy.
there's some new Dune game that is like coming out. Or
There's a new one that's the new one's massive online multiplayer or whatever.
Awakening, is that going to be the one?
Yeah, that's it.
Release date to be announced.
Yeah, there's a trailer for it.
I'm on Steam right now, and this. Well, the thing I'm talking about, like, shit's getting to the point where it almost is indistinguishable from reality. That looks really good.
Yeah, it was funny, Nick. You posted in the chat there that Life of Brian meme that's
Yeah.
like, with Dune. It's interesting you did that because I hear that there is a callback to Life of Brian in the new Dune movie.
Oh.
Where Javier Bardem's character, who's playing like the zealot Fremen, who like is like a total believer in Paul Atreides as a god and everything. He is like he's boosting him up and saying, "Oh, look at Paul Atreides, he's a fucking god," and
His
everyone
character's
should worship.
name, but yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
But I guess Paul Atreides at one point goes, "No, I'm not a god. I'm not any of that." And then he goes, "Oh, look how humble he is. Can you not see he's the Messiah because he's so humble?"
Oh yeah, well,
Like,
they're
that's-
so drunk on talking about. That's one of the overarching themes of the entire Dune franchise is that they are all seeing him as a Messiah, but it ends up
well,
not
actually,
in the new movie, but well, you'll see it in the third one where
he
he's
becomes
kinda-
space. He becomes Space Hitler.
basically, yeah.
I read I think the first 3 books kind of recently, and yeah, they're interesting.
Yeah, he becomes Space Hitler. But he even like
This
he's got
game
all
looks
he's got all of,
fucking good. Jesus.
yeah he's got all of humanity's genetic memory, so he can actually like, hey, Adolf Hitler, he's a lot like I am right now, like because I've just like started a holy war that's killed like billions of people.
Yeah, he starts a holy war that kills billions of people across the galaxy, and then the third one, he's like dealing with the whole because it's not like he intended this, but he's dealing with the whole overarching like people drunk on the mythology of himself kind of thing.
Mhm.
Hold on, like the whole the Fremen, like starting to like going from not wanting any part of him to then basically being, yeah, he spreads his fucking
did you see
shit
the-
across the. It's
All right,
insane.
while you nerds are chatting, I gotta go walk my dogs. I'll be back in 15 minutes.
All right.
Hey, did you see the post that I posted before that, the one with Elon Musk? Maybe it wasn't as necessarily as funny, but it's the kind of topic about like the whole talking about like following a charismatic leader. Like should come with a warning label on their forehead saying like if you love Dune but you like Elon, you're missed the point of Dune. But
Well,
I mean, most people won't understand that until they
Oh,
watch
yeah,
the rest
okay.
It's like people that watch The Boys and idolize Homelander.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's also a recent discussion along that same lines is people not getting that Starship Troopers is a satire of fascism.
Yeah.
No, not at all. What are you talking about?
They're
I'm
all
doing
like,
my part.
there's no
We're not-
fascism.
People that read Animal Farm and just don't get any of the underlying tones.
Animal Farm was basically communism.
I was sad when they sent the horse off to the fucking glue factory. Fuck those pigs.
Yeah, but we need glue, you know.
We do. But
remember
I'm
watching, like,
pretty
a
sure
movie
at this point in time in humans' technology and stuff, we don't need to rely on dead horses to make glue.
I don't know about that. They wrote a whole song about it. Goodbye, horses.
This is
I don't think that was about glue. But-
Totally.
No, I
was.
thought it
Come
was
on.
about like lambs being quiet until they stopped screaming.
It was written by Glue Lazarus, wasn't it?
What other?
Blue Lazarus.
What, there's another something horses song that I'm in the back of my mind right now, but I can't put my finger on it. Something horses.
They have big cocks.
No, but that song title.
Oh,
Fucking Big
oh,
cock.
um,
No, that was such a weird place to go out of nowhere. That was
Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones.
that's I think that's probably the one.
Wild horses couldn't drag me away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Not a great song. Not personally not big on the Rolling Stones in general. They have some songs that are decent. Are you a fan?
I'm a big fan of them. Yeah,
Really? I didn't realize that.
one of my favorite bands.
Like, I like some weird, like this Troll Fest, Flamingo, Overlord, fucking.
Oh, no kidding! You like some weird stuff. Every band you've ever told me you liked was just like, I'm just like, what in the fuck is this?
No. I've
Yes.
shown you some stuff where you weren't. You didn't have that specific reaction. But it's fair enough, you know. I like what I like. Unless have you heard of Kim Dracula before?
I don't think so. Oh, yeah, you showed me one of them. His things.
It's a guy,
Yeah.
but he's beautiful. I don't know how to explain it. He looks like a hot girl, kind of, and then he's just got the most insane vocal range in the history of the world. But kind of some crazy. But this Trollfest band, it's like the ones Pina Colada. It's just like the whole song is like I don't want no beer, I don't want no whiskey, I don't want no tequila, pina colada all day. And like the pina colada all day is like this exact same thing that after every single verse. And the whole song is just him saying he doesn't want anything except a pina colada all day. But it's such a great song. It's so random. I love it. I'm this Amazon Music app has just introduced me to a lot of cool shit. It's cool. I like it.
I'm happy for you. It's taking
Thanks,
your life.
man.
Yeah, it's taking your life to a.
That's a whole nother level.
But that doesn't cut out quite where it should.
You shut up.
I'm just saying, it's got that weird little like beginning of a laugh or something at the end of it.
Yeah, I don't want the laugh though. That's the thing.
Well, then,
That's as close as I can cut it without like the end of his fucking word.
is it though?
But, yeah, it is.
What are you using for cutting?
Fucking Audacity.
Really? Okay, because that's I was gonna say that's the app that I don't know. I feel like you could because he taught they don't overlap. It doesn't seem like to me.
I hope you're satisfied.
That was good. No, we're good.
I use Audacity for audio editing.
All that it's free and it has
Works good.
all
too.
the features in the world. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like OBS. Like why would you use it? I bought
Like for audio
some-
editing, it's pretty much all you need. Multi-track.
The only-
I bought some program called Action or something years ago now on Steam for live streaming, and I tried it, and it like That's what it was, live streaming. I just use it for like recording my videos. Then that's when I was like uploading videos to YouTube, gaming stuff. And I record something and play the video back, and it's like 5 frames per second. And then I get OBS, the free program, which I'm using right now for my virtual camera, and it works fucking flawlessly and has so many features, customization options. Like I haven't tried them all, or even close, but I don't believe I can't see any paid application beating OBS. Just straight up. Like OBS has been around. I'm looking right now. I'm using version 30.0.02. They've been around for long enough to be at version 30. They've got their bugs worked out, kind of thing. You know, like it's fucking flawless.
Yeah. As far as fucking Audacity goes, it's pretty much perfect. The only thing is, like, I feel like I'm gonna have to look into rolling it back a few versions, because as soon as I updated it, like the sort of the newer versions, I think Audacity got bought up by somebody. So now when it updates, it's sort of changed how they do things a little bit. So like before, when I do my all my editing for my podcast in that, it would save relatively small project files for all my editing and stuff. But now it's like several gig for a fucking project file, like to the point where, like, the other a few months ago, I had a little too much stuff in my hard drive, and it's like, this project file cannot save. You do not have enough space on your hard drive. I was like, well, what the fuck?
What the hell?
Like,
Right.
Really? Like, well, how big are your audio?
How
files?
low on space are you there, Lee?
Like, I asked
I've-
first.
I've-
How big are these audio files?
They get upwards of like 10 gigabytes.
And is that well? Here's a question. Well, your original file, is that 10 gigs? Like your original recording?
Fuck no.
What is your recording?
It's like under 100 megabytes.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck they do, but
I don't think I've ever had I don't think I've ever used the project file stuff with Audacity. I think I've only just ever like edited my file and then exported it and been done with it.
Yeah.
So I've never used that, but that just seems
Just
outrageous.
record high res audio clip, like say vinyl rips or something. That's all I've ever really used it for.
Yeah, like if you're doing like super high definition audio stuff, those clips would be pretty big. But from what he just said, his clips are like 100 megs, and
You're
then
doing like an hour's of worth of sound,
Yeah.
probably uncompressed, right?
Yeah. So
but then again, like the project file doesn't make any sense, right?
like it's I
Makes
mean
sense to
it's like when I read like the earlier versions of Audacity I had when I was doing that, it would be like the project file, the way it would do it, like it makes a file basically for every fucking edit you make and like every change you make in the fucking thing. I guess it kind of saves it. So like you can go back in the project and you can undo certain things you've done. Like you can go back to the entire timeline of the entire time you've edited it. So, but like back when I used to use it, fucking I would rarely get anywhere close to like even a gigabyte of fucking like project file size or whatever. But now it's
Because it's just like the record of what happened in the. It shouldn't even like it being that big. Just is.
yeah.
Nick,
I don't know.
wait,
Pretty big. I don't know if I've ever had anything that big, but
I was going to say because you said it does kind of make sense to you or something. I think you said?
well, you're talking about 10 gigs for how much audio? Like an hour?
100
an hour and
megs.
10
He said it
100 megs.
So maybe he said megs, right? No, not gigs. 100 megs.
Yeah, well, no, it's like 100 megabytes or so of like, depending on how long the podcast is, right?
That's your wave file.
Yeah, well, not a wave, MP3.
Okay, fair enough.
Please, 100 megs.
Yeah, that's about an hour's worth
that
of-
is
or
a-
so.
Yeah, so
Hour and a half.
If the program is then having to, because MP3s, some programs I've used, they make you transfer the MP3 back to a WAV file to be able to fucking do the actual editing, because MP3s are kind of finicky. So if Audacity's having to convert that MP3, a 100 megabyte MP3, I feel like that would be a pretty big WAV file.
Yeah.
Like I remember randomly. I remember the first MP3 I ever made was a No Doubt song. I don't remember what song it was, but I recorded it off the CD into a WAV file, and the WAV file for that 3-4 minute song was like 25-ish megabytes.
Mm-hmm.
So like converting that, if that's what the program, I'm assuming that's got to be what it's doing. Converting a 100 megabyte MP3 file is going to be a very big WAV file. So I think that's got to be what they're doing. Nick, does that make sense to you?
Just what you're saying.
Like how big do you think
Win
100
Stefani.
megabyte WAV file would be MP3 would be in WAV file size?
Mm.
It's got to be
Could be.
huge.
Could be.
Because WAV files are just so much bigger.
But when I finally
have
when I save the finished project, it goes back down to 100 megabyte MP3 at the most, or whatever the fuck.
Like when I did my GoPro shit, walking Oreo and stuff, and I had my GoPro recording the WAV file. The audio was a separate file. Those were some huge WAV files. So I think if you're using like the highest recording options you can, like MP3 at 320 and all that kind of, then
I think I'm at. I think I have mine set to like 192.
Well, here's your question now.
I'm sure it's 192 is what I use.
When I export MP3s, I do it at like 384. I want best. But I mean, I got one here. Like I'm looking at an album that I ripped many moons ago. I can't remember exactly how long it is, but it's probably shy of an hour, like for more like 50 minutes. And it's the MP3s of it are 172 megs, and I've also got the FLAC files, which are over a gig.
The FLAC, I don't think.
For 1.4
I don't think
files, and that's a 24-bit audio.
I don't think Audacity would be converting to FLAC. I think it probably FLAC is bigger than WAV. Isn't it?
But the
FLAC is
original
huge.
source material depends on what resolution you recorded it at, and it's probably uncompressed.
So that would make it even bigger than what I was talking about. I wasn't even thinking of FLAC. I hate FLAC files because they're so goddamn huge.
Oh yeah, I love them because they're not limiting any detail.
Yeah,
They're
but
lossless compression.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, take a FLAC file, listen to it, convert it to the highest quality MP3, listen to it. Unless you've got a super
highest quality MP3, that's a misnomer. That's like that oxymoron.
Yeah, MP3s are the garbage sound file. Basically.
They are. They're the bologna of sound files, basically. The bologna of music files.
Yeah, I mean that's why
fine quality ham.
They're fine for listening in an MP3 player or whatever, kind of thing. But nothing will beat like a studio produced like FLAC file kind of thing. Like fucking that's why Neil Young. That's why Neil Young railed against like MP3 so much. Like,
it's not so much on the surface the sound waves that you're listening to, they will just sound just the same when you listen to like a FLAC file versus an MP3, but it's all the underlying details that get filtered out when you listen to an MP3.
That's what I'm saying too. Well, depending on
if you're listening, you're not listening to the main, you're listening to the detail within the song, then you lose that really quickly in an MP3.
It depends also a lot on the hardware you're using. Like some of the shit, it won't matter if you listen to it. But I'll like higher end stuff. Yeah, I'll agree. Listening to vinyl, listening to high quality like randomly I have my Amazon Music set to only stream the highest quality audio, and I won't deny it.
Oh,
Like
I'm just saying, like,
I don't
lossy
have
versus-
the MP3 to
lossless
compare,
versus
but
lossy compression. I'll take lossless any day.
yeah, I've just listened to MP3s since they first were a thing, and they're fine. I've never had an issue.
Most of the
Like,
time, I don't care either. Like, but if I'm sitting there with
Yeah.
headphones, like high quality headphones on,
In
I'm
my
looking for
car,
the detail.
MP3s on my fucking phone and shit. It's just, I don't know, rocking
Gotta
out. No,
gotta
no.
keep in mind that Nick is also a vinyl file.
Yeah, Nick
You know,
is
Audio,
like one of
semi-auto audio file. I don't go for the best stuff, but I know what to look for.
he's verging on being snobby about it.
Virgin. I'm not a virgin.
He's not crossed that threshold quite, but he's almost there. He's almost
virgin.
snobby about it.
but
It's kind of funny.
he does have a point though, because like I realistically, I'd rather listen to a vinyl record than I would an MP3 album.
Well, I guess the whole thing for me that
You
kind
gotta
of drew me
understand, like,
in,
the
and
reason
to
you would
this
want to
day,
listen to vinyl over MP3
Yeah.
would be like,
Because
it's not just like a lot of people think
Well,
like it's
my
the
only-
scratches and pops and the character of a vinyl. No,
There
it's
aren't-
because it's an analog waveform.
there
and
aren't a
there's
lot
no
of
detail filtered
albums. There aren't that many albums out there that I want to just sit there and listen to front to back.
Well,
There
there's
are- there
not
are- there-
nothing-
there-
not a lot
there's-
from like
enough.
Troll Factory or that on vinyl. So
Troll Fest.
You
know what?
Troll Factory.
Randomly, this band, I bet, is one of those ones that they probably have vinyl that's like in crazy fucking random colors and shit.
Oh, everybody has vinyl now. Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
but one of the
But
big
it also
flaws
depends.
for
Like
me-
if you were to record the waveform into Audacity, is it from a digital source or is it from an analog source? Or if it's digital, coming from a digital source, is it lossless or lossy going into the vinyl? So you're only going to get from a vinyl what you put into it. And because a lot of these studios making these vinyls records these days are fucking lazy.
you are crawling too far up your own anus at this point.
It's true though.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but like, yeah.
if
but-
it's a digital source as opposed to like
Yeah.
analog tape source, master
Yeah,
tape.
Yeah, but anyway, what
these
I was going
remasters
back to,
coming
what I
from
was saying,
companies who just want to pump out more vinyl.
the thing that kind of sucked me in, and I'm still there with like digital audio, MP3s or whatever Amazon's using right now. It sounds really good, but just the
Well, it sounds good to
ability,
you,
the,
man,
the,
and
the ability
it's
to hit
all right
the
if you're
ability
sent.
to hit random. Like, you know, I like just being able to make a playlist or, you know, have several albums in there and just be able to hit random, even CDs over vinyl for that aspect, being able to just have like my mini system has it that I've had for since I was like fucking 18 at this point. To Pioneer, it still works perfectly. 25 disc changer, put 25 CDs in there, hit random. It doesn't change songs as fast as MP3s because it has to change the discs and stuff, but just that ability to just hit random and just hear not the entire album in order of one band or whatever. That's
I mean, Nick, what are
A
we going to
big
do?
thing
With
for
these,
me.
what are we going to do with these fucking millennials? Am I right?
Yeah, really. What are we gonna do?
I'm
Just
pretty
another
sure
different-
Lee how I,
They like the vinyl.
I think
they
I'm
only
younger
like the
than you and
collector part.
older than you, so that's a thing you can say, I guess.
Lee's
Yeah.
Lee's the oldest one here. Me and Red
Yeah.
are the same age.
Oh, both of you millennials. Fuck both of you then.
Wait.
Well, I actually 1980 is the cutoff for Gen X, so I'm like me and Carrie are like the tail end of Gen X.
No. 78 is the cutoff for fucking.
am I a
Gen
bit?
X.
Am I a bit older than you, Nick, or are you older than me?
And you're old, I'm older than you by like
Yeah.
4 or 5. But you're August, right? August 80.
Yeah. August 3rd.
February. So so we're like 6 months apart, but it's still 1980.
But it is like
I'm more of a
albums-
70s kid than Carrie is.
albums
Slightly,
are
yeah.
albums are not made the same way. Like albums aren't really an art form anymore. Like
Well,
albums have become
Not
more.
what they were. Yeah.
I'll agree and disagree with that. A lot of bands these days still do. Like some of the Avatar, some of the metal bands I listen to, they legitimately do. Like again, like there are some albums I totally am down with listening to front to back.
But
Well,
it's
again,
a rarity
just-
these days.
There's so many just good songs by I just like the changing it up, I guess. Kind of like
No, it's fair.
well back when I used to be a kid and just have much music on in the background or something like that. You know what I mean? Just not the same artists again and again and again and again. Just throwing just.
Mhm.
I,
Yeah, no.
I love the randomness.
That's fair. I mean that is the benefit of the digital age, is that you can do that, where you can mix and match everything. You don't have to
I am surprised nobody has come up with some fancy technology that exists these days. The ability to have the needle on a record player drop in exactly the right place to know where the song is, and have like a stacked record player changer with like say 10, 20 records in there.
Well, those
Did
exist.
Juice Spot.
They
do
technically do
Jukebox.
exist,
Okay.
but they were like very gimmicky, and they were from the 1980s. Like there's
Well, that's
a
what I mean,
brand
like,
name called.
There's a
you should
huge
take a
vinyl
look up.
resurgence these days.
There's a brand name. Well, yeah, I mean,
Why not
You
somebody-
gotta come into players that have taken things that seriously today. I mean, when CD and cassette kind of took over in the 80s,
Why that'd be
and
cool.
90s,
What
a lot
company
of that
was it?
technology. There was a brand name called Nakamichi that made the Nakamichi Dragon turntable, and it was this
That's a
fancy
badass
fucking
name.
laser guided rig that would not only be able to tell where the track lines are if you wanted to pick your track,
Yeah,
but it would also have this setup where the spindle would look at the record, say if your spindle was off center because maybe the pressing is like wrong, it would actually start to spin the platter out of a alignment from the center, like based on where it saw things, and like pick the track and also spin it completely circular.
Oh, here we go. Look at that. Look at that.
This is the cassette deck version.
That's the cassette deck version. Yeah, I have to find
That
Introduced
sounds
in 82.
extraordinarily fancy. But again, that's what I say. Like these, how has somebody not got a Kickstarter going or something for like the modern 20 discs? Because like there's been a huge vinyl was like dead when I was when I was a teenager. Nobody wanted anything to do with records. There's been a huge resurgence in vinyl in the last like 10, 15 years kind of thing. I must pee and grab a beer. Right back.
the Nakamichi
I just want that
Dragon
rainbow.
CT.
Dragon. It's great.
I might be wrong on the laser guided. I know there is.
No, here we go.
I know there is laser guided turntables, but this is the one that will actually like. There's like demos you could look at YouTube where they're actually figuring out where the center position of the record actually is, so they can adjust the center point.
Nakamichi is also called Dragon's Top of the Line. It's turntable.
I used to have a Nakamichi tape deck, but then the belt broke.
Yeah, I was reading there. It apparently they were unreliable. Like they did break a lot, I guess.
Yeah, like I had one. Right, I had like a BX series tape deck, and I replaced the rubber idler wheel. They got it running for a while, but now when you press the play button, it just stops. So it doesn't even play cassettes anymore. So which sucks because I love that tape deck.
But the thing Redbeard was talking about, like, yeah, jukeboxes could do that basically. Like they would do the thing where it's like, but it wasn't like whole records. It wasn't like zero in on a certain song on a record. It would just play singles, right? You would have singles, vinyl singles in a jukebox, like 45s or whatever the fuck. But I imagine that's doable. Like it would be complicated. There would be a lot of mechanical parts to it, but like the ability to have like basically a vinyl CD changer where it would, allow you to switch between vinyl records really quickly and pinpoint the exact spot on the record. It would take some programming or whatever, but like it could be done. It would just be like
check this out.
Isn't that the main thing with it would be
Google search? But there's also these things called laser turntables, and they're basically all you do is you put the record in, and it uses a laser to play the groove, so it picks up the groove, There's no physical contact. It reads it like it was a CD.
That's very cool.
Does that do anything as far as depreciating the sound quality in any way?
Well, that
I'm wondering if well,
Speaks
Nick,
for scanning the record and
being
playing
what
it.
I would almost consider a purist, you know, like would that be offensive to you, kind of thing? Like that sounds cool.
I'd
It
want
sounds
to
like
know more.
it sounds like it would
I would want to
potentially
know
be-
more about the technology
It
first
would
before
potentially
I would
be
cast judgment on it.
zero wear and tear on the record as opposed to the needle.
Yeah.
Like any record's eventually going to wear out.
Apparently, somebody still makes these.
Digital laser turntable. Of course, it's a Japanese guy. Those damn.
Well, yeah, it would have to.
Well,
be.
what Lisa, I was peeing there about the jukebox thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those records being generally like just a single, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's so the technology to make a turntable, not a turntable, sorry, a CD changer.
Mhm.
That's been around forever.
I think.
So it's just like in my mind, the ability to put the records into this like 20 changer, and what the laser sounds like a pretty viable. That sounds really like just it being able to quickly pick a spot where the song starts, because the CDs, that's all digital, like it's like encoded and stuff. Laser knows whereas the record, that would be kind of adapting old technology for some new technology kind of thing.
I'm assuming. I'm assuming the jukebox is in the
there you
following
go.
series.
What did turntables with track
Technics
size right there?
There you go. Technics SLQL 15 vinyl engine has a it's like a linear drive, so that instead of having an arm that went across the record, it has a linear straight tone arm.
Like a
It
thing on a
actually
motor,
has an
basically.
LED for detecting the track sections.
Wait, like instead of the needle thing, it's got like a kind of a motor, like almost like a printer kind of thing, ish.
Let's see. Does this guy have anything of it in action? No, I don't want to see inner workings. I just want to see it in action. But yeah, it's just like linear turntable. You can see where it like goes across the surface of the disc in a straight line, like the original.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The original like writer, like the stylus would do it.
It seems like that the header on a dot matrix printer or something, kind of, or even an inkjet printer, like the printing head.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't as great for vibrations, but they were good for like making sure there was no groove distortion.
You just made me think of, or 10 minutes ago, I was going to ask, what car company was it that put? There was at least one or two car companies that put.
Oh, it was the Chrysler Highway Hi-Fi. Is that what you're talking about?
And did that actually that must have had some kind of like dampening, like early skip protection technology, right?
I really don't know, but it was like this little. It had custom records. They were. It had custom records, like they weren't necessarily like off the shelf 45s. Proprietary players would play 7-inch records with center holes designed for use in automobiles.
Well,
So,
that must have been like
16 and a half and then 2/3 RPM.
Like how many? There couldn't have been that many records available then. That's got to be.
No, probably not. It's probably like super rare these days.
Yeah, that would.
There wasn't anything that would actually play like 45s in your car.
That
was in the 1950s. Holy shit!
Well, there's a question right there, Nick. Was there any company that actually made a record player that put regular records?
Probably.
Because I feel like I want to say that's what I heard of.
Well, that's probably what you're thinking of. Like, I
have a whole timeline here.
Story of vinyl record players.
The Bumpy
There's
story.
got to be more than just that one then.
RCA Victrola 45 RPM record player. I guess
there we go. So we went into the 60s.
Yeah.
Meralco Auto Mignon with George Harrison. So I guess there was.
So it kind of died out in the 70s, by the looks of it. Is a thing that
I imagine the
there was a Lexus.
The anti-skip technology or something must have been just a hell of a thing to figure out with.
What is this?
You hit a bump while there's a needle going across this turning thing.
Oh fuck! Look at the glove compartment right there. You can see there's a record player in it.
Wait, is this
This
like
is
a
Like
newer
this is your
car?
hipster
What?
Lexus.
What? This
You
is
see, Lexus IS Wax Edition.
2021. What?
Somebody actually put a record player in a Lexus.
Okay, but this isn't a standard thing. This is like.
No, it's for hipsters.
But that's actually pretty cool.
Automaker partner with musicians Madlib and Catrinata. The user review, which the website Pitchfork and Hollywood Effects House created an in-car turntable for Lexus IS Wax Edition.
Even then, like, the CDs
build
are
a
cool.
record player
CDs
to
are cool.
skip while driving.
You could buy the cover for your visor in your car, where you could hold the CDs. I mean, like, where are you going to put a selection of CDs in your car? You got to your trunk is now taken up by your CD collection, like your vinyl collection.
It used to. Yeah, right. Well, it used to be when you had CDs in your car. If you were rich, you could have like a 50 CD changer in your trunk.
I used to have a 10 CD changer in my trunk.
Well, you get the idea. You could have like a CD changer in your trunk and just have a whole bunch of different options.
I randomly in my Volkswagen, my first car ever, I had a mini disc player as my head unit, and then I had a 10 CD changer in the trunk.
I remember the mini disc.
I spent way too much money hoping the mini disc revolution was going to be a thing.
Looks like Corolla.
To this day,
But,
I will stand firm on a mini disc is just a better version of a CD, and I'm not sure why that didn't at least take off in some way. Because like it's got the protect. It was like a CD.
Of course,
It looked like a floppy disk. It had protection built into it. It held just as much fucking data as a CD did.
I remember the okay, so you use linear PCM as for digital recording.
Yeah,
it
had
afterwards.
all
Right,
stuff.
8-track digital like audio compression, which is basically Sony's version, not so much for Sony's version of MP3, but like a predecessor to it.
Mine did not have that.
I'm pretty sure
Mine,
this is Lostly.
no,
Lossy.
mine, like the versions of of mini disc players recorders that came out after mine had the ability. Like mine had like the disc that said 80 minutes on it, and it was you were able to record 80 minutes on that. The ones that came out after that had the ability to record like 200 songs. Like it was like some MP3 predecessor or some shit that they used on that, which I didn't have access to myself. One guy I saw one time when I used to work at the Moose came in with a fucking mini disc player that he had actually bought in Japan. It was like this super fancy version that I couldn't even get. It was pretty cool.
Great. Used to be near to CD audio quality. Years later, it was improved over earlier versions of similar bit rates. Lossless encoders can encode CDs. Yeah, so it wasn't much loss. Like CDs have no loss, they have no compression really. But
Aren't CDs basically WAV files?
Yeah, they were at the very least.
But yeah. So the mini disc was obviously a little bit less, but they were again just the having the
file
the protection built into it.
Sound file, but it's lossless, so
It's
not even.
I still have the player to this day somewhere, and it still works perfectly. And to this day, I think I spent like $1,400 on it when I bought it, and now eBay, $20. It makes me so sad.
Oh, it's crazy, like some of the stuff. And you know what? You see that thing I posted? Was it me that posted it earlier this week, or was it Dan that posted all the Walkmans? Like how much Walkmans are worth nowadays? Because I mean.
Must have been Dan because I don't remember it and I ignored it.
Yeah, probably because Dan posted it. But yeah, like I think there was a thing where we were talking about Walkmans, and I've actually got one somewhere where it's an original like Sony Walkman from the 90s, but it's got auto reverse and Dolby noise reduction and shit. So, but it's not in great cosmetic condition. So I
have an
wonder,
original
like,
Walkman
but like some
somewhere.
of those Walkmans are going up in value, and it's crazy.
Actually, I remember being like when I was a kid, I used to borrow my mom's. Like I had just the basic bitch Sony Walkman. It's still wherever it is, it's still in good condition. But it had like the red thing on the tape cover, no auto reverse, no. I think it only had fast forward. Might not even had rewind, but worked perfectly. My mom though, she had like the Sony Sport Walkman or some shit that had like, it was like water resistant and stuff, and it built into it and stuff, and had the auto reverse and shit.
Yeah.
Even came with these super fancy fucking earbud headphone things. I miss my. I had a really nice pair of. Is it Klipsch? Nick, what's the name of the goddamn sound company? Is it Klipsch? Yeah, yeah. Really nice pair of like they were so wired because phones I still have to this day have the headphone jack, and it's one of those things that I'm pretty sure he who shall not be named randomly picked up on and left my house with one of those times. Like, fucking piece of shit. They were like $120, and they were great. Nick is just showing off his ass right now all day long. I like it. No, there you go. Twerk it, twerk it.
I know I have. I don't know where it is.
You're like a centimeter away from plumber ass.
Neely's,
It was great.
I have Neely's old Sony Sports Walkman around here somewhere too.
Oh, is that maybe? I'm curious now as to how that compares to one that I was just talking about. When my mom had the Sport Walkman, I think my mom's is probably like one of the
Neely was basic
earlier versions of it.
But it was a Sony.
Yeah. So Lee, I'm assuming, might have seen it. Nick, the movie Crazy People.
I don't think I've ever
seen this movie. I honestly can't recall who the actual like star would be, but the premise of the movie is people in this insane asylum become like writers for an ad company or something because they write like just the most like.
Here we go.
But they make an ad for an air company, and it's like ride on our planes or you'll die, and stuff like that. And like they had super effective advertising.
There you go. Lee.
And then something with the Sony thing. They
I had a whole bunch of these. I ended up selling them on eBay years ago, but
my mom's looked closer to the one on the top right.
Yeah, this is the one I still like. I still have this one, which was Neely's.
But in this movie,
the other ones I kind of wish maybe I kept, but they were like
that one's weird looking.
Yeah, this one is cool because this is like an actual like 1980s Walkman.
That one has a radio tuner. I think mine might have had a radio tuner in it too.
This one's like really super new.
But anyway, in the movie, they're doing an ad for Sony, and their whole thing at the end is like so Asian people that make the Sony products are smaller, so they're able to be like closer.
So they can
it's like the tagline at the end is Sony, because white people are too damn tall. It's actually a really fucking funny movie, and I would recommend it for a movie night or something.
So those Walkmans, I sold all those. Like I had a one just like Neely's that I sold on eBay, and it scares me. It was a little scary to me to think that I sold those 10 years ago, and I'm wondering how much they're worth now.
I'm wondering where the is my Walkman somewhere I could grab it right now, or is it
WMFX 251? Oh, it depends. It all comes down to if they're in good shape and they're working. Anyway. I remember my brother had one. He had an original like 1980s Walkman that was all metal construction. And I think it was like an AWA, which is like the competing brand name to Sony back in the 80s. They didn't last very long, but they were like big in the 80s.
I found mine. Where the fuck you? I don't know. The hell? Oh, so I can't actually visit the page, but let me how do I studio mode. Game. There we go. I'm gonna move myself kind of over here. No, that works. Whatever. All right. If I go like this, that's the one that I got highlighted here
Oh yeah.
on the right. That's my Walkman that I still have somewhere. But so it does have the fucking radio in it as well.
Okay. I think my brother had one like that, but in blue. Like one of the last Walkmans he had, like when he had finally got his own, like when he was in his early 20s and had his own job, and he had too much money that he knew what to deal with when he was that age. So he ended up buying a bunch of useless shit. So I think he had like
That works well.
and it came with like some rechargeable batteries or some shit. In the early 2000s. Not early 2000s, sorry, late 90s. Does that make any sense at all? I just remember it came with 2 batteries and a charger.
You're back.
Trying to guess the fucking Bond movie that Lady Lee's posting a picture to. It's like
shit.
1970s cars, and it looks like it's America. I'm trying to like think of 1970s.
Oh,
Live and Let Die, maybe.
Live and Let Die. That's the only one I can think of where they're driving cars in the city at the start of the movie. Can we get a make on a white pimp mobile? Something like that. I think it was like, well, I mean, really, Live and Let Die is the blaxploitation film of Bond movies.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that movie, but it was
Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do-do.
do-do-do.
Oh, it's totally
a lot of
Live.
the actors in it, like shit. What was the guy that was the villain? I think in Superfly, was it? He was
Truck Turner.
Truck Turner. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That he was in that one.
Is it an official Bond movie or is it not an official Bond movie?
Yeah, it's an official one.
Yeah. That was funny yesterday.
I think that the correct term that Lately would want to use is the broccoli series. So like, yes,
Yeah.
vegetables. But yeah, like some guy had the rights to produce a Bond film based on the Thunderball story, so you got this weird twist on it. It's honestly
even
not
even
a
the-
terrible
the-
movie either. Like,
The comment I made about like the Rock movie, when like
Yeah.
the whole Sean Connery, the whole back,
yeah.
and everything, like it honestly kind of works. It's like, yeah, that's
That's
James
not really
Bond
kind of
coming
things.
back
Like
out.
in this
It's
movie, they
not
were actually
canon
claiming
at
it was
all,
James
like,
Bond, and he's
what?
like in his
Yeah.
40s, and he's taking a physical to see if he's still up for the challenge of being a super spy and shit like that, and ends up being this weird kind of. There's like one scene where they're playing this competition video game or something like that, so it is a product of the 80s. It's not a terrible movie, but it's like it's kind of based on the story of Thunderball, but it's almost completely unrecognizable to the story of Thunderball. It's weird.
Yeah.
The way you described it made me think of kind of a like Ready Player One, or based like
Well,
if
there's
you've
only,
read,
like,
if you've read the book, it's honestly one of my favorite books. Ready Player One, and then Ready Player Two.
I've never seen Ready Player One, but I heard it's like based on like it's a Steven Spielberg movie.
Which makes me even more sad because he's usually makes pretty good movies. And
Have you ever seen The Fablemans? I've been kind of curious about checking that one out.
The what now?
The Fablemans.
No. But Ready Player One, the book,
He's probably heard of it.
the
I've
amount
heard
of
of
shit
it.
they changed for the movie. Like it's a lot of the stuff in the book wouldn't translate super well to film. I get that. But I feel like they could have altered it in less ridiculous ways. Like Ready Player One, the movie.
How did I post
They're like-
that guy in the chat? What the fuck?
In the book, there's this whole like build up between the main character and the love interest and stuff, and all this stuff that happens. In the movie, it's just like 5 seconds, and he's like, "I love you." It's so. It's. If I had to make a list of my worst films ever, it would be up there for sure. It's fucking bad. Makes me sad. Even just the way the movie starts. Like, the character in the movie is supposed to start off as basically a fat piece of shit. And then, like, work his way up and all this stuff. And in the movie, he's just, no, I'm already the man. I was not impressed. What the hell is this? Amazon? I don't like this. Fuck you.
Yeah, I've seen the vast majority of all the Bond movies more than once, so I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah, I recognize this.
I'm pretty sure I haven't even seen all the Bond movies. Well, for sure.
Yeah, we were supposed to watch fucking Skyfall and you fell asleep. I cannot believe you fell asleep during fucking Skyfall.
I thank you for as soon as it came out of my mouth.
Cool. Like
as soon as it came out of my mouth,
Gary
the
fell
Bond
asleep
movies,
during Skyfall.
I knew
Of
Nick
all
was going to
fucking
bring that
Bond
up again.
movies.
Anytime I mentioned something about Bond, Nick's like, "Oh yeah, and you fell asleep during Skyfall." It's like, you know what? I was fucking tired. I was drunk. I was tired.
One of the best newer Bond movies. Like it's the best Craig movie, if you ask me. It's one of my favorite Bond movies. The best movie of all time. It's just like
I could have been Lord of the Rings.
Well
if
done,
I'm tired enough
and like
and drunk enough,
holy fuck, I
asleep.
cannot believe some movie like that you fell fucking asleep in.
Listen, Nick, I would, it's a well worn out cliche at this point, but I would not throw stones in glass houses, sir.
Enter the soundboard.
You are.
You know what? Thank you, Lee. I didn't even think of that. Touche.
You are the most sleepiest movie watching motherfucker out of everybody in this fucking friend group who watch movies together. You half the time you're snoring, half the time you're awake.
Not half the time. Most of the time I'm awake.
Yeah, Nick, did you have to mute me during Skyfall? Probably not.
But it's not through Skyfall.
I don't know. We've watched some cool movies where you've
I was about to say, you know what? There's probably a movie that I thought was fucking like one of the best movies ever that you fell asleep during. So I keep pointing the wrong way. But
just gonna put it out there, bad friend Nick. We start watching
BFN.
We start watching a movie and then all of a sudden Nick starts snoring and everyone's just like,
What? You son of a bitch.
I'm trying to figure out what was the last one.
I feel like you could be just saying
there
most
was
of
like
these
one
things
movie
yourself.
I fell asleep in and I regret it because I kind of want to go back and watch it. It was like Hands or something. Hands of something. I'm looking it up. Hands of Steel.
Hands of Steel? Yeah.
I fell asleep during Hands of Steel and I'm like, god damn it, that was pretty good.
I downloaded it recently. I haven't watched it yet though. Apparently the founder is pretty good. Michael Keaton.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch that.
The founder of McDonald's or something.
I don't know. Is there anything going on Friday for movie night? Because
no, there's going to be no movie night for me. I'm working Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, Nick's Lee mentioned last week and this week he's not going to be because of work.
Shit. Okay, well, no, I got something going on.
I'm not even there for me. I remember this shit.
I've got something going on Saturday morning, so I was wondering like
what's going on, Nick?
I'm actually gonna go do a camera club outing for the first time.
Oh, there you go.
Holy shit! Good for
yeah,
you.
so that means I'm gonna get up early, but I'm not gonna worry about it because there's no movie night on the Friday.
There's probably, to be honest, there probably won't be another movie night this month from me. So
yeah, I know you get work. It's all good. It's just that fucking Greg doesn't want to watch movies with me anymore, and Carrie's working all the time.
If you want to watch a movie earlier, like start at like
Define
7
earlier.
p.m. my time, I'm down. Even
Yeah, I could probably do- I could
depending on the
probably
length
do
of the
that.
movie,
What movies-
even like 8 p.m. I'd be down.
Yeah, 8 p.m. is fine. Okay, well, how about we do that? We'll meet up on at 8 p.m. on Saturday watching movies. Is that cool?
Friday or Saturday, whatever you want. Yeah, I'm down. Or even like if you want to play a round of golf or something earlier in time. I'm working days this week, so I want to go to bed by latest 10 p.m. kind of thing. But I'm down. I'm down
Yeah.
to sit before then.
Sure.
And then if you want to set make it Saturday because I'm supposed to. Well, I think that's Thursday. So Friday, Friday work.
Well, I
too.
got
Whatever you
something
know.
going on. I got to be up at like and meet people at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. So, but for Friday, Saturday night, I'd be
Yeah.
down.
That works.
There's probably something we haven't watched yet.
There's probably several things we haven't watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch the Marvels? No, I'm kidding. No.
I still haven't. Well, you still haven't seen a few things like the Eternals. It's
No, I haven't.
worth a watch. You know, like
I
I've
don't
only
know.
seen, I've only seen the
I've
one
got
time.
to-
I would be down to maybe check
Phase
it out
5
again.
or whatever it's on now. So
That's
just
the
'cause-
thing. It pisses me off. They did such a
there hasn't
fantastic
been
job.
any good movies lately. I watched Thor: Love and Thunder. I watched Multiverse of Madness, and I watched. I haven't seen Wakanda Forever yet.
That was okay. That
Oh,
was
I watched
actually-
Guardians with you on over the holidays.
Guardians also was pretty.
Guardians 3 was pretty great.
Good. But a lot of them, like the I want them to see the entirety. They had some issues, but like all the way from the beginning to Endgame was basically just a pile of gold,
Yeah,
more or less. And then since
a
then,
lot of great
like,
movies that came
well,
out
then
within
they had the
8
huge
years.
issue currently with like they were starting to build towards Kang's going to be a big bad guy,
And then Kang
and
was
then fucking didn't fizzle out. The actor got all fucking a bunch of shit.
They could have recast him.
But even
But-
like the way it was, like the Ant-Man. Did you see the new Ant-Man movie?
No,
Yeah, it
I
wasn't.
heard it was bad.
Yeah, like it had its moments of like, that's pretty good. But overall, I was like, what the fuck are you even doing right now, Marvel? Because like they have access now. Disney bought Fox. They have the Fantastic Four. They have the X-Men.
Well, I thought that
So
was
as
in
far-
plans. Like,
As far as like overarching villain, like Thanos has been used, but
yeah,
now you could use Doctor Doom in the original Fantastic Four movies was pretty not well done. Doctor Doom in the comics is one of the most just incredibly badass bad guys that there is. Like the things he says, the way he fucking he's just written so well. If they do that as him being or like the X-Men, Magneto, he could be an overarching guy. They still haven't introduced the X-Men. They did the mutants was recently in something. Like they've introduced the concept
The
of
Marvels,
mutants.
they put
Yeah.
Beast was in the after credit scene or whatever.
Okay, spoiler, but I'm fine with that. Yeah, like then introducing. I want to say that they did say something on mutants before that, though. Like the word mutants was used.
Yeah,
somewhere.
And
like,
they've made hints to like I guess in Falcon and Winter Soldier they went to like Mariposa or some place, which is like in the comics is like a fucking mutant like sort of
Okay.
city kind of place, like where a lot of mutants are and shit or something like that. I
so
don't
like
know.
it's the potential to get back to where they were is there, but at the same time, a lot of like the superhero movies need to do something because even like I'm a huge fucking fan, and even I'm like suffering basically from this like superhero fatigue at this point because every movie's basically the same overall thing. The superhero,
Well,
bad
yeah,
guy,
I think
super
there's an overarching
person,
theme
defeat the
with that.
super
Like, it's not
person.
like
It-
I feel like superhero movies are going to necessarily die. I just feel like there is a little burnout because we had so many, like Marvel's giving us so many fucking superhero movies, and none of them pique our interest as much. And I just feel like there's an overall lack of quality in some of the most.
A lot
recent
of the
ones. Like,
CG
they're
is
just
not
pumping
up
out
to
shit
par
at this point.
these days,
Mhm.
and also like I'm Marvel especially because DC has never really got things going. But
Oh yeah,
Marvel
DC's a joke.
being these days like, oh, make
I
sure
will
you
say
make sure you
the
watch
Batman
TV
was
shows.
pretty good though. Like the
I won't
Robert
deny.
Pattinson one and the
I
Joker.
am very
Joker
excited for
was
the
good,
sequel.
but they're like everything that DC's got is just like all disconnected. They tried to come up with a
their
cohesive
whole
universe and it didn't work. Although you got to
Yeah.
give like what you might see some good stuff coming from DC soon
I hope
because
so.
I think James Gunn's taking control of that.
Well,
And he's the guy that did the
Superman
Guardians of the
movie.
Galaxy series.
Superman movie is
and,
going to be his first like full on. This was him. Superman.
Yeah.
They actually it was going to be called Superman Legacy. Apparently, it's just called Superman now. So it should be
Okay.
a thing.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what James Gunn can do with Superman, and he also did like the Suicide Squad, which was pretty good, and Peacemaker and all that, and that was
Peacemaker was
promising.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny. It's just funny to me
it's
though.
probably not
Like,
impossible to salvage Aquaman or something like that from that. and
DC
create some kind of universe out of it.
has been doing animated movies for the longest time now. And their animated movies, if just straight up, shot for shot, turned into live action, if they'd been doing that from the start, they would be killing Marvel right now. Straight up. Like the whole DC comic universe movie thing they have going on, that's been going on for like 20 years now.
Oh my God, Nick is still here.
Is amazing.
Good night,
It's
Greg.
amazing.
Night, Nick.
I actually am going to head off here in a second, but
Yeah, I figured it'd be pretty
Yeah,
soon.
make-
I looked down and
make
was
sure you
like,
get
holy
enough
shit.
sleep, Nick.
Nick's about half an
well,
hour.
we're having a
past
good
his bedtime.
conversation about movies and without Greg over talking us, so it's just
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm clearing out
Hey,
the movies.
fuck you. I'm the overtalker. How dare you say that?
Nick has done plenty of over talking tonight. So
you're right.
Uh,
I would have to be
Yeah.
the heavy lifter here.
But yeah,
I'm gonna-
DC has had some serious issues in terms of getting their footing going and making some kind of actual cinematic universe going on. Where Marvel is, but again, like they've really lost.
Marvel is willing to put in the work.
But that up until we were just talking
Lee-
about that before you got here, they've
that
really
off
kind of
the
been
line.
stumbling as
And
of
now that
late.
Greg is back, so he
Yeah.
doesn't take the channel taken down.
And yeah, like having an overarching villain be Doctor Doom or Magneto or something,
Well,
and
that's when you
introducing
come
that.
to Marvel. That's what I think of like when you talk overall arching villain. I don't really know much about Kang, but I remember Doctor Doom being huge. and Thanos
Kang
being
actually
huge.
like the Marvel cartoon that came out a while back now. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the Justice League cartoon, like the original Batman animated series
Okay.
eventually led into the Justice League cartoon and shit. And it was like it's still to this day one of the most fantastic series ever done superhero wise. But then Marvel came out with the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes series,
Yeah.
which is also really, really good. And if they just adapted some
Well,
of
you
those
see like
stories to film,
Thanos, and what about? Isn't there like a? I haven't seen it obviously, but isn't there a thing at the end of the Eternals where you see Galactus or something?
no, there's
wrong?
the end of Eternals has. It's funny because
it's Blade, isn't it?
It-
I seem to remember it's Blades at the end of
Is
that
it
that
Blade?
the Blade and
I
also
can't
like
remember.
Black Knight references there, but no, that at the end of the movie
Blade-
there is the body of an Eternal basically sticking out of the fucking North Pole or something.
or
Which would
Celestial or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yes,
Celestial. That's what.
Yeah,
That's what.
which would
Galactus
wildly
was,
throw
maybe?
off the rotation of
No.
the Earth and shit, and just
Oh,
has
okay.
just never been referenced ever since, which is kind of funny to me.
Yeah, whatever. All right, I'm gonna head
Eternals
off.
wasn't a great movie.
All right, man.
Like
Yeah.
Greg, I'm tagging you in. So you, work on getting Lee's channel taken down, and we'll talk to you later.
I only have one thing to say to you, Nick.
Shut up, bitch!
Like I tell you, Nick, I could go on your channel on a live stream and scream the N-word for half an hour straight, and nothing would happen to your channel because nobody cares.
Right. Fuck you, Greg.
Just small
Indeed.
part of me that wants to see video of Greg just screaming the N-word for half an hour. Like, oh.
Naggers, damn
But
it.
yeah, like Leah, have you watched any of the Marvel, the DC animated movies?
Oh yeah.
Like
I sort of stopped watching them lately, but I've seen like every one up to like, I don't know, around COVID time.
well, they ended the original universe. Like,
Yeah.
it all came full circle back to the Flashpoint Paradox movie, which was the way they ended it was broke my brain when I first watched it. But it also, like, if you like look up on Google or whatever, like the order to watch them in, there's a movie that's like part of the fucking Teen Titans.
Yeah.
That fills into it, and then like the Teen Titans one's awesome. Where like the Raven, her dad is Trigon, who's basically like the biggest bat. And it's funny because I've told you guys about the HeroClix game I used to play with my buddies, little guys, little miniatures. I'm sure I had one that showed you, but my buddy had Trigon, and he was badass, but we didn't ever know who he was. And then this movie came out. I was like, holy shit, he's like. And then the way she gives, like that movie was really well done. And so many movies in that series were just so well done. And the way they ended it, and it rebooted, and it's now they're doing the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, I haven't watched those yet.
The part 1 of 3 is out.
Okay.
And I read the comic years ago, but the movie still was hard on my brain. It jumps back and forth.
Well, yeah, it does the whole multiverse thing. It's like all the different Earths and all that shit.
Yeah, it
was their whole like back in the day when the comics when they did it. It was a way to like reset the DC universe because there were so many iterations of different superheroes and stuff that was so confusing. They wanted to like chop it all down to a much more manageable thing, and then like.
Well, I think that was one of, if not the first, like.
They've done it a couple of times.
Universe. Since then, they've done it a bunch of times, but like
the
most
most recent
first,
one was their New 52 or whatever that they did, and that lasted for a while, and then they
is that the most because I remember, but He Who Shall Not Be Named bought
Marcel.
Oh, fuck you. He bought all those comics, like first editions, and let me borrow them to read them, and my diabetic cat Commodore, who's no longer with us, chewed the side of one of them pretty significantly, and it was
no wonder he treated the way he did.
You know what? Come think of it now. I'm not sure. It was like a first edition that was. I would have been like 25-ish when that was a thing. I want to say.
Okay.
So it might be something now, but like.
But yeah, I think that was their last big reset where they had the New 52 or whatever, where they were like there's only going to be like 52 Earths that we draw stories from or whatever. So that's it or whatever, and then they forgot about that in recent years or something too. But whatever.
Remember like the whole and then Superboy Prime became a thing and.
It doesn't matter. Like that's the thing that gets me with people who complain about comic book movies where, like they get an iteration of a superhero or something they don't like. It's like, what the fuck do you care? Like what purity of your character are you talking about? You're talking about an iteration of this character that is one of like literally and like almost every superhero character you can think of from comic books have at least a dozen versions of them over the history of their publication. So, like, what are you talking about that this shits on? And why can't you just go back and read those comics or wait for the next movie that gets it done a little better? Because they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And you complaining about it and, like, it's ending your life. That's a you problem. You have no life. Like, you literally have no fucking life.
with me with the movies and shit or TV shows, whatever I'm watching, in my head, I'm like, this isn't the comic universe. It might be close sometimes,
Mhm.
but this is like an alternate universe to the comics.
I mean,
that they're showing
almost-
now in live action.
Almost everybody universally loved like that first run of Marvel movies, like up to Endgame. Almost everybody like loved those. And
I
I
want to
mean,
say that the Dark World.
okay,
was
so there was a
probably
couple
the-
in there that they didn't like, but I mean,
the Dark World, Iron Man 3 are probably the two I can think off the top of my head that were just like
yeah, but even
not quite up to par, but still,
but
still,
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 even
wa-
then-
still not bad, not bad,
even
not terrible. I guess.
pretty much everybody liked that run overall.
Oh yeah,
movies.
for sure.
And those movies change so much about the different superheroes and characters in it. Like totally rewrite characters in some instances, like the minor characters and stuff like that. And you don't see people complain about that. Like there was no big outrage. It's just
Especially for
stupid.
people like me
Wait,
that have never read
what
the
do you
comics.
mean? What do you say? Rewriting? Because like
There's plenty of like minor characters and stuff where their entire backstories are rewritten and they're changed, they're slotted into different positions that they never were in the comic books.
I don't know if anyone's been like that drastically changed that I can think of. Like
Not super drastic, but I mean, there's definitely been like changes of origins and stuff like that, and in characteristics. And shit like that.
a big one. The biggest one I can think of is Ultron was supposed to be created by Henry Pym / Ant-Man, who wasn't even a thing in the MCU at that point.
Yeah, the
So
original
Iron Man
Ant-Man.
did it, but like that was a decent switch they did for that. But like,
Yeah,
I can't think of anything else that were like you're saying
They
origins and
reworked
stuff.
they reworked a lot of stuff to like Baron Zemo's basically a totally different character than what he was in the
I'll give
comic.
you that. I'm not a fan of the way they.
The Red
kinda
Skull
fucked him
is the Red Skull's fairly different compared to what he
The
was in
Red,
the comic.
the Red Skull was written like and he was only in the one movie too. Like he wasn't.
Well, he's in a couple movies because
well-
his ghost is like.
It wasn't even Hugo Weaving voicing.
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
But like he was. Like I feel in Captain America, he was portrayed pretty well, and it made me kind of sad that a lot of the movie villains, like a lot of the Marvel villains that could have been like more overarching and come back or something. They're just like, no, we're going to kill you off. You're dead.
I mean, you
Makes
know,
me sad.
technically Sony, but I mean, still at this point, part of the Marvel thing. Like the Vulture in the Spider-Man movies, like it's Michael Keaton, not like this 80-year-old billionaire.
I always envisioned Ben Kingsley. Just because
That-
like
Oh my
the
god,
bald-
that would have been that would
but
have
you know
been
what?
pretty good.
But the way they changed that and did that in a way that worked for me.
I
thought
see,
that was
that's-
actually really well
that-
done.
That's the thing, like in that
Michael
sort of
Keaton
original.
turning around in the car and being like, "I know who you are, motherfucker. I'll kill
Yeah.
you." That was
No, that-
great.
See that original run of movies, like the rewrites they did were to like better mesh the universe together because all these comics are from different creators doing different storylines independent of other creators within the Marvel universe in the comic book form. And here they gotta they're trying to tie all these movies together. So they gotta interweave things and rewrite things a little bit to make them make more sense.
Oh yeah.
And so, like the Vulture now being like a blue collar guy who was like helping clean up the mess that was after the fucking superheroes like destroyed the entire fucking city, and like he gets hold of some fucking Stark tech shit and makes like mech suits and stuff like that makes sense. Like that's a good like twist on the story kind of thing. That's cool.
And they haven't they at the end of that Spider-Man movie, they hinted at like Scorpion and stuff, and they haven't gone anywhere with that. Because then the next Spider-Man movie was where he like everyone forgot about him and stuff. Which actually apparently they did that in the comics too. And there's a really cool frame that was floating around on Facebook, which was the Hulk, and Peter like met up with him, and the Hulk still knew who Peter was. Banner forgot, and like Hulk doesn't forget, kind of thing. It was pretty cool. The Hulk had that Ed Norton movie, which was pretty great, and then hasn't ever got any other. Like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, they could have made a whole movie, I feel like, on the whole transition from him being the brute guy to becoming Smart Hulk, the Avenger in Endgame kind of whatever shit, like where they all of a sudden, blended the brains with the brawn and stuff. Like that would have been
they kind of bitched him out. They kind of presented him as a bit like in his human form and shit, and that romance with Black Widow that went nowhere. And that was building up to maybe being something, and then all of a sudden, no, I'm just gonna turn you off on the plane and fly away, and then be in Thor Ragnarok. Like what? So they have made some very questionable choices. Yeah,
so,
but you know,
and that, like right now, like I'm curious to see if they can.
Oh, now they're just scrambling to
bring it back, kind of thing. To
I would suggest focus on individual stories and not like overarching. We need to have a big universe stuff. That's the thing. That's what they used to. Like, the movie is the story of one character, and then the end credits scene gives you a little taste of what might be coming. That's what they were doing. Do what actually made the comic books successful and made them work from month to month. Give them individual stories in their movies that you can follow that aren't necessarily connected to bigger things. And then every once in a while, you know, if the movie series is successful, like say you have like 3 Hulk movies that work or whatever, third movie, hey, maybe Thor shows up or something, you know, like and that would happen in the comic books. Every once in a while, so and so shows up.
Come back, think of it. The first movies, it wasn't always connected to the end. Like
no, it built up to the big connection.
The one Marvel, what movie was it? The end of Iron Man 2 was redeeming qualities, I guess I want to say. At the end of that was where they discovered Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
At the end, and just building up to the next movie, not necessarily the overarching huge. It doesn't always have to come back to being like, oh, Thanos is coming or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what was the first one that Thanos was actually in?
I think he showed up in a Thor one, didn't he?
No. Again, I want to see the end of Thor 2.
Or maybe, well, it had to be before Avengers, right?
Yes. I remember him like it being like him, like a shot at him, and he smiled. Yeah. And he looked quite different than he ended up being in the end.
Yeah.
I know he was definitely in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but I feel he showed up before that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're probably a quick Google search away from that answer.
Like
Thanos' first appearance.
I remember the end of the one movie being like, "I'll do it myself," and the last scene is him grabbing the gauntlet. I remember that.
Oh, I guess it was Avengers.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
it was the Avengers.
That actually makes sense because the Avengers, because we didn't really see Thanos right off the bat. We saw that fucking other character that was his, the voice of Sauron kind of thing.
Yeah, Damien.
And then who was the guy from? What's the guy from Guardians? The bad guy from Guardians.
Oh,
is it Ronan? Is the
Ronan,
one who broke his went like that and broke his neck.
Yeah,
but he came and that was the beginning of Avengers, when he gave Loki the fucking scepter and stuff, and then he came and hey, Nick Fury. But there was no Thanos before that, really.
Nope, that was the first one. And that was the one where it wasn't Josh Brolin. It was like,
but I guess we didn't actually see Thanos until like the end where he turned into the smile.
Yeah, he
thing.
sort of turned and looked and said, "Oh shit, that's Thanos." That was just like an
Yeah.
Easter egg for nerds. Like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit, it's Thanos."
That was like I nerded out. I was like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me?" Yes. Well, again, I think I didn't. I think I sidetracked, but in that Avengers cartoon, Kang is actually done super well as like the overarching big bad guy because he's from the future and he came back. I think his overall thing is like because Captain America shouldn't exist because like he got frozen and then came back and something he's the root of the problem that eventually becomes the downfall of his civilization or some shit like that, and it's done really well. And Kang he's got like his futuristic suit and shit. He's able to like basically just stop anybody from even touching him. It's pretty cool. But again, that cartoon is so well done. The first like 4 or 5 episodes are like just like introducing like the Hulk and Iron Man and Captain America, and I think Black Widow and Hawkeye are kind of almost intertwined in the show, and then like then they all come together, and then the Avengers are formed and stuff. It's highly recommended. Just like my bladder is highly recommending I empty it.
Yeah,
right now.
we're gonna end the. We've been going 2.5 hours now. I'm gonna end this thing.
Oh, good. Then we can start using racist terms.
Come on, we went for a stupid. What was the last week's like fucking like?
That was only 2.5 hours or something too.
Oh,
Something
I thought
like
it was very long. But
was it? Maybe it was 4 hours. I don't know. But I mean, we're gonna end it how we always end these shows with this message from our sponsor.
Oh, good.
When you say taco, say
Good message.
59 cents. That's all it takes at Taco Bell. Hard to believe, but you know darn well it tastes so good. Lettuce and cheese. Wake up your mouth with that seasoned ground beef.
Like, this would be me eating that Taco Bell.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, so good tacos.